And good afternoon, Xbox Nation. Welcome to this week's new episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast. I'm your happy host, Mr. BoomStick XL, because, well, there's a lot to smile about. And I was just telling the guys, there's one of those rare occasions that there is literally just so much news. You just don't know what to talk about, how to approach it, how many topics we're going to hit. But I'm telling you right now, folks, we got already 70 people here. And I can't thank you enough for checking out Double Barrel Gaming. This is a fine squad of gentlemen that is going to have a lot to say on the big topics of discussion for today. We'll start first with Daniel McGee. Brother, the main is getting nicer and more full each and every day. What's going on, brother? How you feeling?
Thank you. Pretty good. Just watched one of the worst WrestleManias in like a decade.
So I haven't watched it yet. Is it bad?
It's real bad. There's a couple of really good matches, like the tag match with Sammy and the Usos, like that's really good, and the Cody Roman match, really good. Terrible ending, real good. But every other match on both nights was just thrown together last second. So didn't really go anywhere.
I haven't watched that stuff in 20 years, and I was just about to get into it because the Game Pass perk for Peacock, I can watch it for free. But I'm gonna watch it anyways, just to see what it's like.
I've heard some good things about it. Like it was overall positive. People just didn't care for the Roman Reigns Cody fight.
Yeah, well, the problem is that there's this bloodline storyline, and it's the only story that they have going in WWE right now. Everything else is just like completely secondary. Like the closest second thing that you have is the Mysterio story, where Dom went to prison for 4 seconds and came out with a teardrop tattoo, and and it's funny, like it's a good bit, but it doesn't cover the fact that the guy can't talk or wrestle. So
he took somebody out in prison, huh?
Yeah, apparently in the 3 seconds he was there for breaking into his dad's house.
He's quick.
He's efficient. But yeah, this bloodline story's been going on for 3 years, and it's had some really good moments, but for the most part it's like, do something though. And this WrestleMania ended with like, we're doing it for another year because we have nothing else to fall back on, and we're afraid that you'll stop buying tickets. It's like cool.
And then what they do is they sold their company. So after that,
they merged
with UFC, right?
Yeah.
Which is an interesting choice. I think it'll probably be fine. They've already had a really good relationship with UFC because a lot of their wrestlers come over, or like a lot of UFC fighters end up wrestling in WWE. Like I think Ronda was UFC. She might have been some other.
Yeah, she was definitely
Brock Lesnar did.
Oh yeah,
Brock. Yeah,
Brock Lesnar. Yeah.
Did you all see how weird Vince looked with that mustache though?
He looks awful, and he's back
weird,
to creative,
like a predator or something.
You could
look odd.
Not a predator. That's hilarious.
He looks like a villain in an '80s like Miami Vice episode.
Yeah. Somebody said he's
like
a villain off a Telenovela or something like that.
Yeah. No, honestly, but he's back in charge of creative after the merger, and you can really tell because that Raw after Mania was among the worst in recent history. Like just really bad.
Well, I'm gonna watch it anyways.
I mean, with all of the bad news, like you almost have to watch it. I was telling the guys in the chat. Again, folks, hello, I'm old. My mom and dad, who are young parents, love doing like fun stuff with us when we were kids. And one of the things that we did is we went to probably around 30 live wrestling matches. But one of the highlights in my kid career with my parents is they got eighth row from the ring for WrestleMania 1. And I have the programs, and I still have the Hogan finger, thing, and I have them all. Yeah, literally mint conditions. Finger. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Worth some money right there, boom.
It's
probably, but I wouldn't sell it because obviously the nostalgia. I remember running to the program guy to sell the programs and looking at my father like, "Pops, what's up?" You know what I'm saying? I need these programs. It's got Hogan and Mr. T on the cover.
Despite Hogan, it's crazy how time has revealed things about Hogan that has made him look so terrible lately.
Yeah.
One thing I've always loved is his intro. I'm sorry, I still love that intro. That
of course, it's a freaking awesome. What's not to love about it? Yeah, I mean it's
a real American. Yeah, it's dope, man.
Yeah,
America, F yeah. That's basically what that was.
Match where he beat the Iron Sheik for the title.
I remember that.
Old folks, so it's that's my wrestling. The new generation of wrestling, I'm not a big fan of, but I do like what they're doing over in AEW. But anyway, again, this is not a wrestling podcast. This is the Xbox Factor podcast, and we're gonna get into Xbox talk in a second. But Retri, you're gonna lead one of the topics because you did an amazing post on Twitter, kind of breaking down how crazy of an April this is going to be. I kind of think, we've had a good year. We've had, in fact, I didn't dare say we have a great year for Xbox and specifically Xbox Game Pass, but I think April is the start of like an onslaught of stuff. How you doing, brother? Welcome back.
I'm doing great, Boom. Thanks for having me as usual, and Pano and chat. Welcome everybody. I'm happy to talk. Not ABK for once. Like we dodged the bullet. It happened.
Yes. We have skipped past the landmine or landmine field.
A little bit of that. There'll be some ABK news coming up very soon. I've no doubt. Mm-hmm. Probably today. But yeah, so yeah, I think Game Pass, like I've been touting, I think this is like going to be the best year ever for Game Pass. What's on the slate so far, I think already says that. And we have a lot of question marks on what might come to the service. So yeah, and April's looking solid for me. So I did a little montage video, just kind of, which I think I'm going to do for every month. And of course I made the video and then new games pop up the very next day, which is what always happens. So
but you know what though? I think when that does happen though, Retri, what that does, especially for a creative like yourself, who specifically covers Game Pass and how amazing it is when you take the time and you put these things together, right? And you look at the amount of games that are coming to the to the program or to the subscribers of Game Pass Ultimate, and then right after that you get 2 or 3 more announcements. It really does put the cherry on top of the Banana Boat Sundae. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. And it really just goes into, and we're gonna get into a tweet from actually Aaron Greenberg's been out there. We got a couple things to get in with Aaron. Yeah. Aaron's been out there making the rounds, and he did something cheeky. I love it. I think that it really does hammer down the value of Xbox Game Pass, but we'll get to that and what he actually said.
I'm gonna go spicy on that one. I think I'm gonna piss some people off with my take.
No. It's I love it. I love it. Hey, Umbra, welcome back, brother. When are you? When's the next time you're gonna sign that next record deal? I'm just curious.
Oh man, I'm working on it. I'm still signed a WBG with Dirk Griggity, so I don't know what happened. He might sue me if I try to sign with someone else for now.
Maybe right. He seems the type that he might want to take you to court. I will tell you what you do not want to be a part of is his POS of the week.
I don't want to be a part of that.
What a great segment. I was on his show, and when he announced it, I had to mute myself. I was laughing. I rolled in my chair.
Is that a new segment that he just added?
No, he's been doing that for a while.
He's been doing that for a while?
I don't want to
watching his stuff. But
he shouts people out. It's the POS of the week segment, and it is quite a thing.
I crack up.
You just got a new subscriber.
I crack up with the baby when he's like, I don't want to do that.
That's great.
Yeah, Dirt is a nut, man.
Yeah, it's funny.
Man, the guys over there are good. No, man.
Yeah, he has a good crew there.
Yeah, absolutely. Sean and all of them. But I was gonna say, yeah, man, it's been an interesting week. I have been working overtime with the OBS. Boom. And
good on you, brother.
The OBS
good on
It's not that bad though, Retri. It's going well.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
I got it nailed down pretty much. It's all done. It's set. I'm just looking at other things I can add to it to like make my
spice it up.
Yeah, spice it up a little bit,
Yeah, I have some ideas for you, stuff you might not know about. I'll talk to you after the show. Some things that can really help with OBS.
Definitely, whatever help I can get, I'll take. Yeah,
you know what? I tried. I just every time I needed it to work, it would work for a hot second, and then when I know that there's so much more you can do with OBS. In regards to overlays and inserting different things and running a better speed video than what you see up here, which is only 1080p. But I've been with StreamYards since they announced right after the YouTube Studio had changed, where you can podcast directly from YouTube.
Yeah.
And these two dudes, they started it up, and I've been with them ever since. And they've done so many things to make this worth me staying around, even at the. And I pay $50 a month because I like the 1080p streaming. Hopefully, maybe one day they'll do a higher tier for.
They will eventually. They'll get to 1440. And
so that'd be great. That'd be. So I
was going to say, so for me right now, Boom, I use Discord for it.
Yeah, I hate Discord. Oof, God, do I hate Discord. Not a fan.
To me, it's really easy to just get right in and get in and out. But that aside, I was going to say, so I'm thinking next week will be a launch. That's when I'll go. Next week, Thursday.
Oh, excellent, very good. Yeah. We'll definitely hype that up
at 7:00. I think start. And my show, so everybody would know if anybody's interested. If you all want to try to subscribe and help a brother out,
drop that link in there right now. We have already. We got over. Wow, we got almost 300 people here. So drop that link in there, and you like what Umber brings to the table, and I don't know why you wouldn't get over there
right now,
and sub his new channel Fix as the show he's going to be dropping. Listen, well, let's get into a hot button topic that I kind of thought was going to be not a problem. Look, I have to mention ABK because it's not ABK related, folks, but it is acquisition related for Sony. The other day, the news was making the rounds that suspiciously Quantum Break was being pulled from Xbox Game Pass. And I mean, if you listen to the show on a regular basis, I've been telling everyone for the entire 2023 campaign, please go play this game, and that a sequel needs to happen. The star of the game, we know, wants to do it. We know Remedy has a script ready to rock and roll. We know they want to do it. I'm still waiting on Microsoft to kind of figure out what they're going to do with this franchise, because if you haven't played Quantum Break, you're missing out. You're honestly missing out, especially if you are a fan of story-driven content. Graphically, on the Series X, it's the chef's kiss, and the powers in this game are phenomenal. The fact that we don't have a sequel is honestly a gaming travesty of justice. So why am I bringing up Quantum Break outside of it being pulled? Well, I said it in the DM to the guys here. I said, I honestly believe that, it's my thought, and it hasn't been proven that they haven't done it, but I'll read you the press releases from both Aaron Greenberg and Remedy regarding what's going on. I thought for sure Sony had acquired Remedy. And why wouldn't they? They've worked together on Control. Even though Control is multi-plat, we know that Sony had some involvement in that. They definitely had the marketing rights for Control. They're probably going to have the marketing rights. I don't even know for sure for Alan Wake 2, which really should be Microsoft's, because, well, when I think of Alan Wake, I don't think of PlayStation. I think of Xbox. But I thought for sure that this was just a petty Sony thing. Like, hey, we're not, we're not getting Starfield, so a Redfall, because you canceled it. Xbox, F you, we're pulling Quantum Break. That sounds like a Jim Ryan dick move. Sorry, that's just what it sounds like. And apparently that's not in fact the case, because I have a press release here from Aaron Greenberg, who is the gentleman gamer, as we all know, and he says, "Don't worry, folks. Quantum Break will be coming back to Game Pass. It is temporarily being removed due to some licenses that expired that were in the process of being renewed. We'll let you know as soon as it's back," which, of course, should calm all the fears. But just moments ago, Remedy Entertainment actually did a press release from their official Twitter account talking about Quantum Break. And it says, "Don't worry, folks." Well, they don't say folks. I'm saying folks. "Don't worry. Quantum Break will be coming back to Game Pass. It is temporarily being removed due to some licenses that were expired." And it's literally like verbatim what Aaron said. And I would imagine, folks, that the licensing situation might have to do with, of course, Lance Riddick and his passing. Obviously, he passed in March This is the star of The Wire. He was the star of one of the stars of Quantum Break. He obviously played a huge part in John Wick. Very, very sad that he passed. He was only 60 years old, folks. That's way too young. Way too young.
Yeah.
I think that's what it has to do with it. And I kind of just want to. There's not much to talk about. It's getting pulled. No. It's getting pulled, and it's going to get put back in. Okay, big deal. But my question to the panel here, and more specifically to the over 300 people that we have here, does anybody but me want a Quantum Break 2? Retri, this is one of those games that at least I have been asking for from Microsoft for years. Now we're gonna get some adult themed games. We're gonna get some lifelike looking graphics. When we start seeing Microsoft's first party roll out, but this is one of those games that to me it's a bit of a conundrum. Like, you have an actor, the main star of the show, wants to do it. You have Remedy, who has apparently written a game and could get it off the ground with the thumbs up or the okay. And Microsoft seems to be sitting on their hands a bit on this. I don't understand why. I mean,
probably because I don't think it sold a lot. I don't know what the sales numbers are, but I think it's
that was also a real terrible time for Xbox, though. You know what I'm saying?
You're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. All right, that generation and that time period was not good for Xbox, and nothing was really selling, whether it was good or not. Right. So I think a lot of people liked it critically. I think there was a decent amount of people who didn't like the mechanics on it. I'm kind of one of those people. I also kind of with the Control, I'm not feeling their mechanics necessarily. Okay. Love the stories. I actually feel like I might be one of the fewer people who enjoyed Quantum Break for the TV side and what they were doing, and just kind of doing something that felt kind of different. I actually really enjoyed that part of the game. So I'd be okay with a sequel, and I have no doubt actually that a sequel would do much better, because we're in a different state, we're in a different generation, where this is a much different Xbox than it was when Quantum Break first released. So I mean, you got the star who obviously who wants it to happen, obviously. So I'm not exactly, Sean. I'm not against it, but I kind of lean on the side of maybe just make another game in the same universe. Like I'm kind of like I would like a new IP from them.
They kind of did, Retri, to be fair.
Well, I mean, they've done it multiple times. I mean, almost all their games lately have been in that universe, right? Or three of them. So,
well, I mean, again, we don't know. I mean, I'm not sure if Quantum Break connects with Alan Wake and Control, because they never really spoke on it. But I would imagine, I mean, just based on some of the powers that are a little bit identical, I would say that it's not a stretch to suggest that they could incorporate Quantum Break, because Microsoft does own the IP. That's a fact. They owned Alan Wake, but I guess they didn't re-up it, and it reverted back to Remedy.
Right. Yeah. So I'm kind of lukewarm on a Quantum Break too. I'd be fine with seeing it, but I kind of would rather have a new IP personally, possibly set in the same universe, because I like that universe that it's set in. I think it's really cool. So that's my take on it.
No, that's a strong point. I just realized that Danny McGee is not here. I think his internet might have kicked
with that awesome 1 gig down internet that he's just bragging about before we got
that 1%er internet.
There you go.
Those 1%ers.
I texted him to see what's up, but he hasn't responded yet, so we'll see.
Okay, so maybe. All right, so
hopefully,
real quick,
nothing too serious.
Yeah, hopefully it's not an emergency.
He hit me back. He said his PC kicked on him.
Okay, so we're going to back you momentarily. Shout out to Dark Winters, who's a channel member for a month. So, brother, thank you so much for that. And he also drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, anyone else feel like Xbox is Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet for 2023? Yeah, I think that is. I actually have a picture of Phil Spencer holding the Infinity Gauntlet, and I'm saving it for after the showcase that we're going to talk about, because I think there's going to be a couple of snaps he may just muck up the whole universe, Phil Spencer, with that glove, because there's a lot coming. Some rumored stuff. We're going to talk about, specifically what we expect in the second half of the show, because that's going to be upon us before you know it. Obviously, E3 being canceled really just kind of sucks. I really wanted to go to E3 again. I really wanted the in-person experience. I don't know what Microsoft is doing outside of them already confirming that area is having a show, but we don't know if they're going to have a fan fest. We don't know if it's going to be like when I went in 2019. I was sitting there with King David, and behind me was Jez Corden of Windows Central, and I had Tim Dog on the left of me. It was like a party.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of want that again, but I'm not going to fly out to California and spend $2,000 on lodging and food and flights if there's not going to be a party to go to. You know what I'm saying? I'll just cover E3 as I've always done from the seat of.
And that's the best way to do it this year, Boom, because it's unfortunate, man, because I wanted to go and meet you guys, everybody out there. But like when I saw Microsoft like distance themselves away from it, I knew the writing was on the wall. Like, because Microsoft did their own kind of thing last year too, but it was still part of E3. This year they made it clear they were not part of it, and I was like,
yeah, that's because the ESA and ReedPop just didn't have a good plan.
Yeah,
and I honestly feel, again, I don't know for sure. I'm only speculating here that they just didn't like what was being put down, and I knew something was afoot. That when I was waiting for my press passes, I kept getting emails saying, "Hey, listen, we're processing. We will get back to you," because I was concerned. I'm like, "Hey, listen, you the ESA recognized me under 5,000 subs. I'm over 12. How do you not recognize me now? It's like ridiculous." So I knew something was afoot. But listen, it is what it is. Infinite. Let's get your hot take on the Quantum Break 2 thing. Obviously, Quantum Break 1 going away only for licensing issues, not for the most nefarious thing. I thought it was a Sony thing. I thought for sure, because that's something that, listen, I'm not going to lie to you. If I'm Sony, who can't really buy anything because they've already they only have $5.1 billion left, and I say only not to be facetious. That's all they have left for the entire company, SIE, Sony Interactive Entertainment. That's film, that's electronics, that's PlayStation. That's not a lot of money for an acquisition. But Remedy, if I'm going to be quite frank, I don't know what the relationship is now with Microsoft. I would be dancing in the streets if they signed Remedy as first party. And if Sony did, I wouldn't be dancing in the streets because I'd rather them go to Xbox, but I would say that's a big sign for Sony. That's what I thought this was, but it turns out it's not. But Infinite, does Xbox Game Pass need a game like Quantum Break 2?
I think it does. To me, and by the way, just to say, I looked into it for the Remedy, I said it right. The Remedy Connected Universe. So Alan Wake and the Control are connected for sure.
Yes, they are. Yes, correct.
Quantum Break only isn't, obviously, because Microsoft owns it. Otherwise, it would be.
Yeah, it's not like officially connected, but there are Easter eggs pointing.
Exactly.
It is so connected.
Like, maybe it is, but also
that's why I said 3 games. You know what I mean? Because you can say what you want, but if you played the games, they're connected.
If you've played through them, you'll see the Easter eggs, like said, they're all over the place. Literally.
Well, to be fair, I do also think that the person who plays Jesse, I think that's the same actress who plays the girl from Quantum Break, so that might be a little multiverse.
I think you are correct.
Thank you.
To say.
Yeah, I didn't know that. But yeah, the thing about Quantum Break, it's that sad, unfortunate thing. The same thing happened with this. This is the same thing that happened to Rise. It's the same thing that happened to what was the name of that? Sunset Overdrive. It
was in his brain.
All of them failed, to the wayside because of the launch of the Xbox One. So absolutely, I think Quantum Break had great potential. I think it still does. I think they could still actually do something with it. And like Retri pointed out a minute ago, Sean Ashmore still wants to do something with it.
Yeah, he sure does.
You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to trash his career, but the man is not super busy. So why not get him on something like this?
I didn't want to say he wants to get paid, folks.
Yeah, hey,
like he's doing the Comic-Con tour, all right? He's signing things.
Yeah.
Getting his bread.
He's accomplished. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with him wanting to get paid. I think this will incentivize him to work extra hard and turn in an extra great performance, right? And with the tech that they have now, the improvement over how great Quantum Break still looks.
Yeah,
I can imagine how much. I mean, when we saw how Hellblade 2 looked with that new add-on to Unreal Engine 5, it wouldn't be me if I didn't mention Unreal Engine at some point. But but yeah, they have so much they can still do with this. Listen, I still advocate openly for Rise 2. Somehow, I know that Microsoft doesn't own the license, unfortunately, IP.
Man.
Yeah, I would love.
I enjoyed that game a lot. Everyone was crapping on it, and I loved it.
I play the game at least once a year. I mean, I have footage, and this is a game that was from 2013, and it looks better than most games today.
It looks great.
It's beautiful.
That Crytek energy, that Crytek engine is just gorgeous, man.
It is gorgeous. It's also really poorly optimized, unfortunately, which is why
true.
Like that was always the thing about the old Crysis games, is they were like, can your PC run Crysis? And it's not because the game was like groundbreaking, it's because the game was so poorly optimized it would melt your rig.
Right.
Which coincidentally is what happened to me a second ago. Is my computer decided
we thought it was your awesome internet. I was making fun of you.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I would. My computer decided that now would be the perfect time to do a big update, and I was like, "Oh, cool." But because I not slumming it with some like 400 down or something, it did it real fast. So
1%er.
That was a dig on me, by the way. He knows when I have 400 down. I was wondering if you were using Wi-Fi or not, Danny. I'm like, switch the crappy Wi-Fi, which is
that'll learn you. But no, Kay said, Kay Asante says, Umber said UE, so you know what that means. A bag of money.
That's right. Yeah.
The word's so easy. But man, I feel like all those games fail, unfortunately, got an unfair critical reception and fan reception, because a lot of fans, I think, kind of wrote them off because of that whole situation. They were kind of like, it's not good, it's bad, because the press is saying these negative things. So a lot of that, unfortunately, happened due to that. But when you actually sit down and play those games, they were pretty dang great. I unfortunately had, I guess, a lull at that point. So I didn't really get into Quantum Break. I owned it though. I owned it from that point all the way through now. And I only just started on it the other day. Believe it or not.
I'm actually jealous. I got 1,000 out of 1,000 achievements. When you try to beat that on hard,
no way, I can't do that.
That game is hard.
I might play it again now, because now I'm kind of getting an itch that I was gonna start playing it again, because it was like, oh, it's leaving. Shit, like I gotta hop on that. So it pulls you back in.
So underrated. Like just the different powers you get, and combining that with just like normal shooting the powers are really cool in that game. Like, it was really cool.
Kind of ahead of its time in some ways, I would say.
It is definitely ahead of its time. I agree with you. Like, they pushed the Northlight engine to its max, I think, with that game.
Nice. And the thing about that too, like, when you said you got 1,000 out of it, I'm an achievement whore too, so I'm definitely going to try to get 1,000. That's for certain.
That last boss is when I say is a real MF, man.
That took me forever.
I loved every minute of that game. I think, again, it's the difference between the generation that we're currently in and Xbox Game Pass is unlike Sony and Nintendo, who still bank on the high number sale of game for a console. That is the old way of doing things. Microsoft has kicked the industry in its teeth by bringing Xbox Game Pass to fruition in 2017. And they have consistently upgraded and added and made the value just ridiculous. We're going to get into the value specifically coming in April. The backlog is real, folks, and that's because of Xbox Game Pass. But Danny, before we get into that, get your take on it. I don't know what your personal take is on Quantum Break, but do you think that the Xbox Game Pass way of bringing games to subscribers, rather than trying to sell you a box for a game, allows for potentially a risk like a Quantum Break 2?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it may not allow for that risk for Remedy necessarily, because they're busy and doing a bunch of other things that I'm sure will make a lot more money, like Alan Wake 2 or whatever. But were they to be acquired by Xbox in the future, then yeah, absolutely. I think that the format of Game Pass does so much for just bringing new eyes to a product, where it doesn't even necessarily super matter if your game like has mass market appeal. Like Hi-Fi Rush had a ton of people playing it, and I know that me personally, I wouldn't have bought that game. Like, I'm glad I played it because it's amazing, but you know, what is it, like 40 bucks, 30 bucks?
Yeah, the deluxe edition was $40. Yeah.
Looking at that game sight unseen, like I wouldn't have paid that, not with how many other amazing games are coming out this year. And instead, I got to play it for effectively free, and now it's one of my favorite games of the year. It's going to be for sure in my contention for game of the year, no question. Yep. And you know, that really is the power of Game Pass. So yeah, I think that it for sure allows for people to be a little bit more freeform and do the things that they really want. And we've seen that time and time again, right? We saw it with Pentiment, we've seen it with Grounded. Now, granted, both of those games were in development beforehand, but I think they got a lot more press because more people were able to actually play it. And so, yeah, I think it's absolutely phenomenal. So Quantum Break itself, I love that game. I think Quantum Break is probably the best game that Remedy has ever made. Control is a close second. Alan Wake, of course, is a classic, but it does kind of show its age a little bit these days. American Nightmare even more so. For some, I didn't care for that DLC so much.
A lot of people didn't really like the Nightmare DLC.
Well, I didn't play that until way after 2 is the thing, so maybe it didn't help that I was like so much separation between the two, but I don't know. Point being, in my opinion, I don't think Remedy has ever once made a bad game. So no matter what they're doing next, I'm here for it.
Well, I mean, they did have that horrible first-person shooter that no one remembers.
Oh, crap.
Yeah. The game that shall not be named.
Hey, yeah. I'll give them a buy on that one. That wasn't their game. They just did a campaign for it.
They did a campaign, and they were given tools that were just awful. But yeah, but that's a great point.
It's like Voldemort, don't say it.
But Dan, you bring up a great point, because if you look at Remedy's history and you specifically say, okay, what story-driven content have they made? I think there's an argument to be had where you say Alan Wake, Quantum Break, and Control all in one sentence, and you're like, well, shit, they know how to make a good game.
Before that, some of the best story series, which I have not played, to be fair, but everybody else seems to very much like. So you know, it's. I think that they're probably doing some good work over there. I think that. Honestly, I think the reason that game didn't do so well is because, I mean, it's exactly like what Umbra said, is it got tied into that initial narrative where everyone was like, oh, the Xbox One is trash, Xbox done, baby. And there was like the TV thing, but I guess we threw that out because like PlayStation has more movies and TV shows announced in video games right now, so I guess we're like cool with that now. So
now it's okay.
It's okay because the cool kid's doing it. Before it was not okay, and we didn't want to talk about it. But now,
you know what someone just brought up in the chat, Danny? Brett Bingham dropped a $2 super chat and says, don't forget Remedy also made Max Payne.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Didn't they also not mocap, but capture the face of the director, Sam Lake, right?
Yeah, Sam Lake. Yeah. He did the like face, and everyone was all here for it. It was really good. I think it's actually they use it as an Easter egg still in some of the newer games, as they put it as like a because he still does like cameo work. So I think in Alan Wake he's one of the like commercials, and in Control he's like some random scientist or something. But yeah, he still shows up, which is neat. But I love those games. I think they're phenomenal, and I do think that. I mean, like you were saying, you were afraid that it was PlayStation who was looking at acquiring them. I would be shocked if people have not made offers to them. If they are not acquired in the next 2-3 years, it's because they don't want to be.
Right.
Only reason.
No, makes sense.
There's no reason there's no way that all of these that in this time of acquisition that no one's being like, hey, you know that Game of the Year contender that came out like what was that
2 years ago? Yeah.
Was it only 2 years ago? It felt like longer. Either way. There's no way people are not looking at Remedy and are like, yeah, we want that. There's no way.
I agree.
There's some of the best independent talent in the
I'm shocked I agree with Dano 100%. I would have put money that they would already been acquired. I'm kind of shocked that no one has stepped up.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be Microsoft, unfortunately, because it seems like they still have beef a little bit.
I wonder if there
talks.
is some bad blood still there. I know that there was definitely some unfriendliness between the two. When different management was at play for Microsoft, for specifically Xbox. I don't know if that same mentality is there.
Well, because people said that about Obsidian too, and where are they now? You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true. They are acquired.
I don't know. The only thing I can think of is either they don't want to be acquired, or they're part of that thing that we were hearing about before the ABK deal, where it was like they've got all these other plans in the works, but they got to put it on hold because we're buying Call of Duty, and it's like, yeah, I can see that you would maybe put Remedy on hold to be like, yeah, so we're just gonna like cash make the biggest acquisition in video game history real fast. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, it's listen. We again, I can't specifically say what was on hold because I don't know, and even if I did, I'd be slapped with NDAs left, right, and center, so I couldn't even talk about it, even if I did know. But we know for a fact that's confirmed. What happens after ABK in next month? Or this month and next month, we'll see. But I do want to, we made mention of eyes getting on games. Retri, before we bring you in to lead this topic about what's coming for April, that is the beauty of Xbox Game Pass. Now, before I get into any more, let me just catch up on the super chats, and Retro, thanks for throwing them into the private chat. Brett Bingham, just a very generous $5 super chat, and says, "This is great. After the ABK deal closes, Phil snaps the Infinity Gauntlet and bang bong. ABK new releases on PlayStation 5 are gone."
Fine, I'll do it myself.
I love it. Yeah, it's Phil Spencer. I'm just going to do it myself. And there you go. Everyone's gone except for Call of Duty.
Right.
Scandalous. Drawn TJ drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, before Microsoft goes and buys WB, they're going to buy the studios that they're all working with and Crytek and Remedy.
Right there.
I love the Crytek pick because that Cry engine is really special.
Can I say, actually, me and Umber were talking about this off the record, but we were talking because we were like, they might not acquire WB in its entirety, but there was that thing that James Gunn was saying for the extended like DCU now, the new one, where he was like, we want to have synergy between our TV shows and our movies and our video games, and so it's like, hey Phil, pick up the phone, dude. Call them and get in on that.
I think that'd be a phenomenal pick.
I don't think I think too many people are writing them off because of things they said 2 years ago. I think that's a mistake. I think WB is a possibility. I really do. They can parse it out, guys. They can parse it out.
I got my fingers crossed, man. Them and Capcom are my top two.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Capcom just posted some of the greatest numbers in their company's history. So I don't know if Capcom. There's a room I saw people throwing around. Capcom wants to get out of the business. That. I don't know. Listen,
damn you, Capcom, do terrible.
Yeah, they just.
The fact
just because you're doing good though doesn't mean you cannot be acquired though. Exactly. That doesn't equal that.
That's true.
Stop with that narrative, guys.
That's sort of the end game of capitalism. Is you start a company, you build it up and build it up and build it up, and then you get to a certain point and you're like, and now I'm going to sell it for $1 million and go retire to Tahiti, or the Japanese equivalent of Tahiti. So
that's possible.
It's not impossible. It just means the number is going to be really high.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, the value went up for sure.
I would love
a premium.
An Xbox.
Although honestly, probably still smaller than 80K.
Not sound petty, but I'm hanging out with Umber too much. I'm getting greedier as we hang out.
As you should, Mike.
I should. That's right. JD, let's see, we have here. Let's see. JD Gamer. Hey, what's going on, JD? How you feeling, brother? And thank you for not only supporting the channel for over 2 years as a channel member. He drops a very generous and outrageous $20 super chat. And he says, Quantum Break came out 10 years too early. Imagine a Quantum Break that launched today with the full weight of Microsoft behind it, and with an Xbox that gave devs the time and power to truly showcase the game. Add Remedy to the acquisition list. Yeah, I do. They're on the top of my list. They're like right up there with like a Sobo, personally. Brett Bingham.
Sobo is still higher for me, but I agree with you. Like,
yeah,
and he hit it on the head. Like, it's one of those things where it was too early. And Microsoft,
too ahead of the curve.
Microsoft has that issue. If you all look at them historically, Microsoft is kind of like that. They always
they are
ahead of the curve, and it sometimes bites them in the.
Sometimes they're just too ahead.
And now they let everything breathe. I mean, this is the new Xbox, and this is their acquisition. You know, part of what they do is they let games go an extra 6 months to a year. They never would have done that in the past.
No,
and that's why your Metacritic scores are going to go up. That's why all their first party games are going to be scored higher. Watch. Yeah. They delay everything.
They're going to milk your face off when you see them. Yes, I can't wait. Let's see. JD Gamer drops an additional, not one but two $5 super chats in the first one. He says, "Imagine if Microsoft acquire all of WB and Remedy, and then allow the Quantum Break TV show to be a real thing, and we got that connected universe that was intended." Yeah, that's kind of dope. I like what you're putting down there. His second $5 super chat, he says, "Look at the Platinum Games practically formally asking Microsoft to acquire them. Bad blood goes away with different management and bags of money." Indeed.
Completely agree with that.
And Brett Bingham's, who drops an additional $5 super chat and says, "Sobo, Crytek, GSC Game World, which should be number 1 on your list, and Certain Affinity are the top of his list." Yeah, Certain Affinity, I don't know why they're not acquired. I mean, they're basically Xbox, for crying out loud. But Retri, let's talk for a hot second about this month in Xbox Game Pass. You know, you did a really great post on
montage
Twitter
video. Yeah,
it was a nice montage video of everything coming out, and that's quite frankly, there's a lot. But then there was some added on the back end of it. You were like, "Oh crap, there's more coming."
I knew I should have waited one extra day, but that always happens. That's okay.
There's something to be said, Retri, about 30 million eyes being there for someone to download a game, or hearing about it from their friend, to, "Hey, this Xbox Game Pass thing, you know, what a Game Pass." Because it's not as far as a lot of people think. Streaming services are like a dime a dozen, right? Everyone is streaming. So even the casual, even the mom and pops know about streaming services. Now, maybe they don't know about Xbox Game Pass, but educated enough, they could. Well, let's talk about April, brother. Is your backlog or our backlog going to be set into overdrive?
Well, mine's already screwed anyways, but I also got an Excel sheet with every game on it, so I think a lot of gamers just forget. There's so much stuff that comes out into the Game Pass, it's pretty easy to forget how many games are actually there. This year is, like I've been touting for a while now, is going to be the best year in my opinion. I mean, we got one drop today that no one even knew, Loop Hero. So that's like a small indie game. We got Everspace 2. That actually looks really cool. Now that's coming out. Well, that's out right now on PC. Technically, the full release isn't until this Thursday, I guess.
Right.
So that's PC Game Pass, but that is coming to console probably in the next 2 months. And that's a cool looking game. If you guys have ever played Chorus, if you enjoyed like the flight mechanics and the flying in that game, I think you'll probably like Everspace 2. And then you got what I kind of feel is like juggernauts. For me, what's cool about April is you got like, we're separating ourselves from Sony finally, where you got like Ghostwire Tokyo, which aesthetically I think looks gorgeous. I know the game didn't review like the highest, but it's still got a pretty decent score. So I'm really looking forward to that game. I just think it looks great. I know people have complained a little bit about the like the mechanics and the fighting mechanics in the game, but with the version we're getting that comes out the 12th, apparently they've updated some of those mechanics and added some new mechanics to the game, and we're getting I think it was called Spider Web or something like that. The DLC is completely free. That's for everybody. That's PlayStation guys as well. So we're getting added value there. Like, we're getting the best version that game can possibly be. We got NHL 23, which I didn't know about. That kind of somewhat shadow dropped. That's coming out on the 13th. So that's obviously EA Play. This is why Game Pass is changing the way I consume games overall. In the beginning, when people were talking about that they were getting more sales, surprised the hell out of me. And now we've come to the conclusion that that's really not really true. It's kind of a case-by-case basis where people like me who are cheap gamers are just subscribing to the service and not buying anything but our DLC and microtransaction. We start buying more of that stuff, right? Which is definitely the case, for someone like me. So we got NHL 23, which came out October of 22, actually. So that took a little while for that to come out. Usually it doesn't take too long for EA Play games to come out, but here we are. And then you got Minecraft Legends. Again, I'm not a Minecraft guy, but I recognize a good month when I see one. That the value, it's about the value of the month, right? That's what's there. I'm probably going to try Minecraft Legends just to try it out because it looks kind of interesting, but that's a juggernaut. That's the biggest game on planet Earth. And then there's like indies like Coffee Talk and The Last Case of Benedict Fox, which looks like a really good indie. So yeah, this month is, if you can't see $15 worth of value in a month of what I just said, and we're not done. There's going to be more games on the second half of April that we don't know about yet. There's going to be more. That I don't know what to tell you. I question, are you just a Call of Duty gamer? Are you just a Madden gamer? Do you just
are you just a shill? Are you just a fraud?
Are you just full of crap?
Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm.
The value is there. It's undeniable. You just got to do the math. That doesn't mean maybe all those games I just mentioned don't hit for you personally, but the month before and the month after usually make up for that value, right? Because I'm definitely a numbers guy. I like to make sure I get exactly what I think personally is worth it throughout the year. And for me, it's already checked that. I'm already done for the year, value-wise, in my head, in Game Pass. Everything else feels like a bonus. So yeah, I would say, this is the year. I'm gonna keep saying it. I'm gonna keep touting it, and Game Pass. Yeah, I know I'm the shill for Game Pass, but you know what? When there's a good thing out there, I'll be the cheerleader for it. I don't give a crap. And guess what? PlayStation, like I said on the Gamers Council show that we just had the other day with Web Dave, if PlayStation does this, it does games day and date, I will be there right away. I will be paying that, whether it's $15 or $20 a month. Hopefully, it'll probably be 25. Yeah. Who are we kidding? It's PlayStation, but
there's nothing wrong with hyping up. I mean, listen, I'm a shield for Unreal Engine. When they're offering something good, when they're offering something good, brother, man, listen,
I want more of that.
That's right. Speak on what you like. If Game Pass is offering me all these things, and like you said, it changes the very but the very way that we game. Things in there that I never would have tried, played or bought. Game Pass actually opened my eyes to. Like, I didn't play strategy turn-based games before. I got it and got Mutant Year Zero in Game Pass.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even
I never would have played a game like The Ascent, which was one of my absolute favorite games.
That one of my favorite games of the year.
Cyberpunk shooter. I effing love that game.
Great game.
Through and through. Even with all the problems it had at launch, I'm like, I don't care. I'll just wait. I lost everything in that game. Everything. All my crap went away. I replayed it. I love that game. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Square Enix was smart enough to put The Outsiders in there. That was a big hit because of Game Pass. Yeah. You know what I mean? And again,
they actually said that Outriders shocked Square Enix, which is why we talked about it on Monday's show, why Square Enix continuously denies that Xbox exists.
Yeah, I don't even like Square Enix games, but I liked Outriders. It was kind of a grindy Destiny type of game with superpowers. I liked it,
especially with a good team. You get a little, your friends together. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. So I mean,
it's look, the value, brother. And I want to go to Umbra on this. Umbra, look, April it seems based on what Retri was saying and what we know versus what we don't even know is still coming. This seems to be the start of something special for Xbox. And I want to bring up a tweet, guys, that took the internet. Retri, if you want to answer quickly, because you said you had something spicy to say about this Aaron Greenberg tweet. And I love Aaron, and I think this really does hit the nail on the head of value. There is a 100 now. Traditionally, there are some folks in the community here, over the 500 people that are here, that like buying their games outright because that's just You will the way you buy you digest your games, and good on you that you like to do that. I'm not about buying games because I buy games on PlayStation and I buy games on the Switch, more so for the Switch and the PlayStation, because PlayStation I only buy their first party, so it's not really a lot that I'm buying because it's only a couple times a year. But I like the value I get for Xbox Game Pass, and he put out a tweet that I think really does, at least for me, send the message that Game Pass is the answer. He says this, folks. Less than a month until Redfall launches exclusively on Xbox Series X, S, PC, and Xbox Game Pass members can get an upgrade to the $100 Bite Back Edition for just $27. And what he means by that is you don't have to buy the game for $70, and you can, through Xbox Game Pass, get the $30 extra edition of the game, where it gives you all the DLC, gives you DLC up front, and it gives you all the story DLC that's going to come on the back end. And when you say that, and again, when you put it like that, you, for $27, if you want to buy the buyback edition, which I bought weeks ago, when the day it dropped, I bought it. I happened to be in the store and I said, "What add-ons?" Buyback edition, $27. Boom! It wasn't even a thought. So I'm getting the $100 edition game for $27. But Retro, you have a different opinion about this, brother. What is your thoughts on this?
I don't necessarily love this post because you already paid for the game. Like, it's kind of like saying you're getting $100 game for $27, which is complete BS in my opinion. It's a little bit of a weird post. I see what
you're going.
You're already paying for it. You already did. So,
but what if you're new to what if you're on the fence of Game Pass and you're like, I don't know about this?
That's okay. That's the exception. Like, if you're smart and if you're not a regular Game Pass subscriber and you come in and you buy and you get Game Pass for 1 month for $15 and then you add the $27, then you've won, right? But if you're in the ecosystem, I'm bought in for the next 3 years, right? I'm not saying not to get this. But at the end of the day, for a Game Pass subscriber who's in the ecosystem is going to be for years on end, you're saving $3. Okay, that's the truth. That's the real money that you're actually saving on this particular game. You already have it. It's first party. It's not leaving. You don't have to buy it. So the value of the 100, when you start off with the 100, it automatically loses value of $70 because you're already paying for it, guys. Right? And then the $30 comes from the DLC add-on, which you save 10% on because you're a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, which is $3. That's what you're really saving. You know what I mean? It's cool if you're. That's how I see it, because I see it as the bigger picture, the whole picture. Like, if you're just coming into it,
I see what you're saying, and you know maybe because you have a keener eye on it for Game Pass, because that's what you do, that's what you cover. I've been a Game Pass subscriber since inception, and I have never faltered. I have always been subscribed. I will always be subscribed. And even though I'm an OG, as the kids like to say, I don't think of it like that, Retro. I literally think I'm getting $100 edition for $27. And Steel Rain, shout out to him in the chat.
Definitely think about it in that way. What's up, Steel?
Wait, so to be clear, you're saying that basically the $30 and that you're saving $3 is for the DLC that'll come later?
Which you are. That's what the Bite Back Edition is, guys. It's the regular game plus the DLC. That's why it equals $100. That's why the internet was complaining like crazy over it. This is why Aaron put out that tweet. But he's not an idiot.
But I'm saying, to be clear, you're only going to pay $30 and you'll get the DLC, right? Like,
I pay technically $27.
You're going to pay $27 because you get your Game Pass Ultimate.
Right. So I get the game in Game Pass, and then if you buy the $27, you get the DLC. You're saying?
Yes.
Oh, that's fine with me.
Absolutely. Yeah. So essentially, it is great. I'm not trying to. It's just my issue isn't with getting it. I'm buying it too. Boom. I'm 100% getting this DLC because what I like about it is it gives you 2 extra characters and other stuff with different powers. So it completely changes the dynamic of the game itself. I'm saying that it felt. I don't know. It was just a little weird. I think people maybe need to look into it further. It's not quite what it is if you're a regular Game Pass subscriber. If you're not and you just want to come into this, then you're essentially if you're just coming in just to do this Redfall thing as a non-subscriber, then you're getting $100 game for $42.
It's a major W for you.
That's the W.
I hear you
because
on it, but my thing
you know
is,
what
like,
I'm saying?
I'm subscribed like you, right, to Game Pass. So
right.
I'm already going to get that game through Game Pass. But
exactly,
I have no issue giving them, you know, 20 whatever something dollars to get that DLC. So I think it's a W no matter which way you look at it.
It's a W no matter which way you. I 100%. That's not what I'm saying. No, I'm saying it's definitely a W. I just don't think it's as big a W as most people
made out to be.
I mean, as it's made out to be, because we're already subscribers, most of us, right?
That's
and we know for a fact most of us ain't buying that $100 because they already told us we don't do that.
I know I'm going to do it. I wasn't doing it.
I mean, I'm doing it.
I'm not.
I'm getting the $27 one.
Counterpoint.
Well, 27. I'm talking about
never buy season passes because that's how you get horse armor. So
yeah, I mean, I was listen, folks. I might be responsible for the horse armor
part of the problem.
Gaming because folks. I'm not going to sit here and lie. The minute that DLC popped up and said horse armor, I bought it.
I got it too. I did too.
So I'm not going to front.
It's also the thing of like, I don't know if I'm still going to be playing that game when the DLC comes out. So a lot of the time what ends up happening is if I go back and play a game some other time, then I'll end up buying the season pass, which all the stuff is already out at that point, and the season pass costs like $10. So I'll go back and I'll buy it at that point. Like I just did that for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And had a great time. Because I finished it when it was first coming out, and then I didn't play it for like 3 years or something. And then I was like, you know what I want to do? I want to be a Spartan, sailing around my ship real fast. And so,
look, I mean, I'll say this, folks. Keasante, good friend, good brother of the channel, says, I get what Game Pass Daily is saying.
K's got my back.
It's shady messaging a little.
Just a little bit.
A
tiny bit.
I guess. I mean, again, for me,
I don't think he meant it to be.
I don't think
Aaron was like, I'm going to put one over on these idiots. Like, I don't
think twirl mustache.
I mean, Steel Rain in the chat says Forces did the same thing. It's basically the marketing strat to make you buy an additional content. And I think really that's the key to Game Pass. And I think that's going to be the key for something like Call of Duty. I think the ideology of Call of Duty coming to Game Pass, besides getting people to subscribe to Game Pass, is if you're getting the game for quote unquote free, as we say, you're you're more likely inclined to buy that bomber jacket or that cowboy hat or the gun skin that has, you know, whatever your favorite character on there is. I don't know. I mean, Game Pass this month specifically, you know, and really, I didn't mean to shift gears and bring us into the Redfall thing, but it is what it is. We got to talk about it. I think that what we're seeing here, though, you know, Retri seems to contend that this is going to be the best year for Xbox probably in history, and I'm right there with him. I think that this is going to be an unrivaled year. I think that this really does put 2021 on notice, and that was a great year for Xbox because they won Publisher of the Year because they had so many high-rated games. I think this year is going to trump it, and I think that April is really the start of it because if you look at it, the big releases for April, and you have May. And you have potentially Diablo in June if they can close this deal. I wish. I feel like Diablo's not going to make it, but unfortunately,
it's going to come real close. I think
it's going to be
really close.
It's going to be like
within weeks. Close.
It's going to be at the wire,
maybe even days. Maybe even days.
That's why I'm going to wait.
Is I really hope, and I obviously know nothing because I'm dumb like Jon Snow. But if it is, I'm really hoping that it finishes before the E3 showcase, because right now I bet that they have 2 different versions of it because they've already like been putting the showcase together since like December or something, right? I bet they have 2 different versions right now, and it's like if it's finished by then we'll do this, and we'll be like, by the way, Call of Duty's ours, and if not, then we'll just be like, hey, here's an extra 2 minutes of Avowed or whatever.
They have like confetti waiting up there, and they're gonna pull it or they're not gonna pull it if Diablo ends up being on Game Pass.
Right. It's like
the balloons will fall.
It's like, all right, well, if this doesn't finish in time, then we can cut the Rod Ferguson section, and he does need to come out.
It doesn't need to come out and show us a new tattoo.
Doesn't need to come out. Yeah,
but
we don't need to see Ybarra.
We had Hargeet on the Xbox Infinite podcast this past week, and we talked about that. And he said that I believe because of the contract obligations, they wouldn't be able to just add it immediately anyway.
That's what I'm worried about.
I forgot how he worded it, but I guess it's something that won't allow them to put it on there immediately. Even
that's probably true, because we've seen that in a lot of Sony contracts where it's like, if you want to put it on our platform, then you also can't put it on Xbox Game Pass, like specifically Game Pass for X amount of months or years or whatever. So I wouldn't be surprised at that. Especially for Diablo, because it is going to be a really big game. I could see that being held off, but hey, maybe they'll do like a Ghostwire Tokyo, and when they do add it, they'll also add like a DLC for free to butter us up.
That would be dope. Yeah, and I see like Roshan said, maybe if they added it Diablo 4 and added a month after release, it will still be a win. Yeah, hell yeah.
That's gonna be really hard for me to wait a month, though. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I really like that beta.
It's not ridiculous. Dude, the reception of that game is been on the level of excitement I haven't seen in a long time.
Hey, I don't know if you guys heard. Diablo is probably gonna be a surprise hit, says the internet. What the F? Jesus.
Yeah.
I was blown away by it. I was blown away by the beta. So I loved it. I got 2 characters, I got one at 25 and one at like 17. And I enjoyed the heck out of it, man. I am 100% in. It put me on an ARPG rush where I went to go play Lost Ark, which is gorgeous, by the way. And I'm just going to go on record and say that
Lost Ark couch co-op.
It is unfortunately only on PC.
And okay.
PC, yeah.
I would hope that they, it's kind of a pay to win thing for it too, unfortunately. But animation wise, again, like as far as attacks and sound design with the attacks and the design of the world and the characters animation, spectacular. Honestly, they could learn something from Lost Ark. Honestly, if you watch it, I actually shared it on my page, on my timeline. Ridiculously good looking game as far as everything goes, and I'm sure it doesn't have anywhere near the budget of a Diablo. You know what I mean?
No.
So real fast for the chat, not for me because I totally know I'm very smart. What does the A in ARPG stand for?
Action.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Because I think of Diablo as a CRPG, a computer RPG, but I guess the
CRPG is just like outdated basically at this point.
Yeah, you old.
That's probably why I didn't like the beta. Like we honestly should have loved the beta
before it comes out.
And I canceled my pre-order because I was like, this is just, I don't like
it.
I don't know.
That still shocks me to my core. It might be my game of the year.
Mrs. Boomstick and I 1,000 out of 1,000 Baldur's Gate 2 Dark Alliance. And we're gonna go back in 1,000 out of 1,000 Baldur's Gate 1. We love those types of games, but it didn't hit for us. I don't know if it was too.
It happens.
Sometimes sometimes it is what it is.
It happens.
But to backtrack and get back on topic, as far as like what we're getting here, I believe your question was basically about the month of April here and how much more exciting we have to come going forward. Yeah, for this month already, we got one of the games I had in the showcase as my top 3. Well, one was, I believe, was it Redfall or was it Starfield? It was Starfield. Starfield, the last case of Benedict. People say Benedict. Was it what's the name of the dude's name from Doctor Strange? Benedict Cumberbatch. They always say
Cumberbatch.
Yeah, that one, and I believe it was Atlas
Fools. Atlas Fallen. Right there, bro.
Those were the top 3 for me for the games shown in the summer, I believe. So last case of Benjamin
Franklin.
Benedict Fox.
I do Benjamin too, so it's not just me. I do that.
No, that was my first time doing that though.
Yeah. Okay.
You rubbed off on me the wrong way.
Sorry.
Don't say that. Wait,
Pause. There we go. But no, that right there is like one of my top 3. So I'm extremely excited for that. What 3 weeks from now we'll get that. So that you have, like you said, I don't play hockey games. I think the last time I touched a NHL game was back on Sega Genesis or something like that. And so I mean, but the thing about it though, like you pointed out, Richard, is like you have all these games that's there. If I'm bored and inclined to try something just to say, man, you know what? Let me just try this. I don't have anything else I want to play. It's a 10-hour trial right there for that game.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? You know, I got Madden on there 23 if I want to play that. You know what I mean? So even outside of this just first party offerings or third party offerings that Microsoft made deals with, you got these games from EA Play that's added to it. So it's just solid all around. But for this month, I mean, we got Ghostwire Tokyo dropping. I hadn't played it. People were like, "Oh, you're gonna get on PS5?" Yeah. I'm like, "No. Why would I do that?" How many games?
Just gotta wait.
Yeah, just wait. I have too much to play anyway. I can wait, and I did. So I'll be playing that next week. So
the 12th.
It's a beautiful thing. I think. And the thing is, we have a lot of uncertainty too, because there's some games that just aren't mapped out. We don't know when they're going to land.
Yeah,
I mean, we still have Replaced. I know that was pushed back. We have Hollow Knight, Silk Song.
The Silk Song, yeah, that's. I mean,
cannot wait.
Yeah.
We got I mean, we got so much, man, that's coming to us as far as Game Pass goes.
Yeah,
it's really a blessing. Like, the year is crazy. The whole thing where people keep hyping up 2023, it is not hollow. Excuse the pun because I just mentioned that, but it doesn't ring hollow because it's crazy good stuff that we're getting. I don't know. It's to me, I'm just excited all around. I think this has been one of the better years for Xbox in general, and it's just starting. So I mean, we're only in the 4th month. And we just started this month, so it's crazy good stuff. And that's just talking about Game Pass, fellas. We still obviously this month we got Star Wars coming this month, so that's going to take all of my time away. I can tell you that.
Me too. I'm dropping everything for that game.
I'm too.
And just to say, the beautiful thing about being subscribed to Game Pass is it frees up my wallet to be able to buy that game. You see what I mean?
Yeah. See,
that's what I'm using my points for.
Point.
It's going right to Star Wars.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
I still think Xbox is making a mistake in that they need a separate show just for third party Game Pass games.
Yeah.
You mean
Exoprimal, Liza P,
Summer Showcase,
Arc 2, anywhere throughout the year. Warhammer 40K Dark Tide's coming, Bounty Star, Flintlock, Ravenlock, Replace, Stalker 2, Lamplighters League, Hollow Knight. Like, it just goes on. Routine, the horror game. I don't remember if you guys even remember that one.
I don't.
It was a robot.
Yes, I do.
It was a quick, scary robot thing. I mean, it just the list goes on, and they need to start. I think Sony would do it, right?
Well, that's because Sony only has like one game coming out this year.
Right.
So they're doing it out of necessity. They're like, Stellar Blade's going to be a really good game. It's not. I swear to God, it's not just this girl's butt. I swear, there's content here.
Stellar yams.
It's coming.
It's not just yams.
Now, you know,
I would like to see an official show. You know what I'm saying? Just the. It doesn't have to be long, like a half hour. Just show all.
You know what's fun
because you see it in one show. It's like, wow.
Yeah, in the digital age that we're currently in, I understand it's production dollars. I get it, folks. You know, but at the same time, I would like Microsoft to get to a cadence where, besides E3 and a Bethesda show in the summer, I would love 2 or 3 sprinkled in. 2 or 3 developer directs throughout the year.
Yeah, maybe they've already said that's what we're going to get, though.
Yeah. But getting to Retrie's point, there is something to be said about an ID at Xbox show, which is like the Nindies for Nintendo, right? We just saw that absolutely astounding Sarah Bond interview with Xbox On, where she confirmed to the world, which, think about this for a second. Again, no one's doing stories on this. I had to dig to find this. They paid out over the course of 10 years since ID at Xbox has started, right? This is the 10th anniversary of the Chris Charler-led ID at Xbox. Folks, they've paid out $4 billion with a B. That's $400 million per year that they are paying indie developers for their games to launch into the service. That's no one talks about that. Why? I don't know.
Yeah, well, and because they've got that, and they've also got they talked about it at GDC. They talked about that, and they talked about the Developer Acceleration Program.
Yes, yep, that was fantastic.
And both of those things are really helping indie devs to put their stuff onto console, because they don't limit it to just Xbox, right? They're like, you could put it on PlayStation or Nintendo or whatever if you want as well, which I think is great, because a lot of the teams that they're helping out are really small. So it doesn't. I don't think that it would benefit them to be like, well, I mean, I guess on like a monetary level, but it would look really crappy for them to be like, yeah, so we're just gonna make it so that Hollow Knight goes nowhere else ever, right? And it's like, yeah, obviously that's the name of the game, is people buy up these exclusives all the time. But when you're talking about a game that's being made by 3 people, it's like, let them go, let them do their thing, let them be beautiful, let them fly like butterflies.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Fly away, little birdie. Yeah.
I mean, and then the acceleration program specifically is for, it's for indie devs, but it's one of the things they specifically talked about was helping out developers who are in regions where game development isn't really a thing, which is also a thing that Spencer's talked about a lot. Yeah. Which is why we're getting like South African games now, and Central American games and all kinds of stuff. There's like that new indie dev that I forget the name of that just started up in India. Maybe?
India, yeah.
So yeah, there's all kinds of really cool stuff going on, and it was really funny, because in the interview, the GDC interview with Charla, he was like, yeah, so it's not really a program that we were like, because this acceleration program has existed for apparently years
2019.
Now. Yeah, he was like, it's not really a thing that we've been, touting, because it wasn't a thing that they were, they didn't want to like take the shine off of these indie games or whatever. Like, they were just doing it because they wanted to get those games on their platform and they wanted to help these people out. But apparently Sarah Bond went up to him and was like, yeah, but if you market it, then people will know, and then they can reach out to you, and it'll be even smaller teams that you don't know how to find. And he was like,
yeah, that's a
really
thing.
Roshan brought up a good point. The 600 of those games came to Game Pass, by the way, out of the last 10 years too.
So, yeah, I mean, that sounds about right.
Before we move on to a spicier topic that has been, I got like 6 DMs of it, so apparently it's a thing. And I'll read exactly what it's about in a second. And we got to get Danny's opinion on what's coming to Game Pass in April and beyond, because it's just crazy. As a matter of fact, you know what? We can't even get to that spiciness, because it is we still have to get to what we're expecting in June. So we're gonna get to that in a second. But let me catch up on the super chats here. JD Gamer drops an additional $5 super chat and says, "Look at Platinum." Oh no, I got that. Let me see where I'm at here.
Hold on.
Brett Bingham drops a $5 super chat and says, "Asobo Crytek." Oh, I did read that also. This is why I can't stand when I stop. Hold on a sec. Dark Waters drops an additional $5 super chat and says, "Definitely want another prototype." Oh, prototype 1 was dope. I loved it. Or a Simpsons hit and run, which I think are IPs owned by Activision.
That's classic.
That is a classic. JD Gamer drops an additional $5 super chat and says, "My acquisition targets include," oh my God, this is a list, folks. WB, Crytek, Asobo, Sega, IO Interactive, Avalanche, Certain Affinity, Platinum Games, Mistwalker, Level 5, and Remedy Panel.
You think that's enough, JD? You sure?
Everybody.
You know what? You have now become the most greediest of gamers.
Yeah.
You have taken the shine.
Between JD Gamer and Drawn TJ, I don't know who says more. Those guys are a competition, but like, just get everybody.
They didn't want the world. Listen, you can't argue that they want to just dominate the gaming industry. I got no problem with that. The more studios and publishers you buy, the less we have to spend outside of Game Pass. So
That's exactly it.
Drawn TJ.
What he picked there, WB.
W is a big one.
Certain Affinity, Sega, Asobo, and yeah, that's good enough.
If you see my spicy
he was like, I'll say Avalanche now.
If you see my spicy thumbnail for tomorrow night's primetime gaming, it got Phil Spencer potentially wearing a Sega shirt. I don't know. Did he wear a Sega shirt, or did I create that? I don't know, but it looks good. I will tell you that.
I don't know. Stay tuned.
There you go. Jerron TJ drops not one but two $5 super chats. The first one, he says, 11 years finally. Dead Island 2 this month, and hopefully later this year, Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. Yeah, he's been
he has been talking about Test Drive for a long while.
Yeah, he's a big driving fan, so hopefully that does actually release. I remember my first PC game outside of like Sticks and Dots, because I'm old, that I actually bought that I ran on my Commodore 64. Jesus Christ, I'm old.
Was that Sticks and Dots game on a Nintendo console?
I knew you were gonna. I knew it. I saw your brain going when he said Sticks and Dots.
Oh, the brain doesn't go. Daniel, it's just now.
Well, I mean, technically, my journey starts with the Atari 2600 and those paddles, which were also, awful. Playing with my dad.
Y'all thought I was joking. The Nintendo put out Tears of the Kingdom gameplay, and what was the first thing they did? Used a stick and a rock.
Yeah, he was.
Y'all thought I got news for you. They got me, and I also bought the console as well. So there you go. I love Zelda. Second $5 super chat says Dead Island 2 is not Game Pass, but still a big game. It actually should be, to be honest with you. I don't know why that didn't happen. JFX 88 drops a $5 super chat and says Microsoft needs to get WB Games and have Boom work on Killer Instinct. I would love it, but I don't know what the hell I'm doing, so that game would suck.
Oh no, he said Boone.
Boone. I thought you said Boone. Yeah. I said, don't make me make a game. I can barely put these shows together. What are you kidding me? We also need a solo Scorpion game made by Ninja Theory. Jesus, that's a wow, dude. Ninja Theory needs more work. I'm sorry, and I have a lot of ideas for them. Jonas the Dad drops a $5 super chat and says, on break, getting my Boom on. Thanks so much for that, brother. Love the panel. Hit that like button. I spend more money on games with Game Pass. Try it, love it, buy it. I just think that's it. That's it right there. Brett Bingham drops an additional $5 super chat and says, when the ABK deal closes, ID could work with Blizzard on a Doom Diablo crossover game. Holy shit, that would be a monster. Wow.
You know what's crazy? I actually spoke about this I think on the Infinite podcast. We were talking about it, and I said with WoW, WoW is just this crazy big IP that they have not done enough with. Yep. And I think of how the MCU has expanded to do so much, sometimes to its detriment. I'm like, we don't really need that. But imagine if, much like he's saying here, Microsoft really takes advantage of owning all these IP and allows other teams to use the IP. We've talked about this before.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But allow the people who did Diablo, for instance, to make a WoW like action RPG. Imagine that, but using WoW's world and their characters and archetypes. That would be pretty dope, in my opinion.
I'm looking forward to seeing these types of crossovers. I think one of my biggest issues with Xbox Game Studios is I know there's a lot. Matt Booty's got a lot on his plate. Thank goodness, Todd Howard and Pete Hines are running Bethesda, because he's just dealing with what they currently own for Xbox Game Studios. Bethesda's doing their own thing. I would imagine Activision is gonna do their own thing with their studios, but all be under one banner. One of the things that I get frustrated with is the lack of ingenuity or creativity with the amount of IP Microsoft owns. I
agree.
It's crazy, folks. Like I said, I don't want to go on a tangent here, and I don't want to bring up my kart racer because people are going to stop unsubscribe. But I'm at a point. No, I'm at a point where I'm waiting for these games because, like I said, I'm an OG. You know what I'm saying? I like these types of games. I like sitting on the couch with my nephew Tyler playing these types of games. We play Mario Kart for hours, and it's the same shit as it's been since the Wii U, but we're sitting on the couch playing it. And I'm wondering when we're gonna see Microsoft take full advantage of the just ridiculous amount of IP that they own. I just, again, whatever. It is what it is. I do want to get Daniel's hot take on this. The Game Pass situation is going to be at another level specifically this year, and it's really going to hit its stride, I think, starting in April, because first party is going to be a part of that. Now, Minecraft, the new Minecraft, it's not really for Boom. I'm going to try it. I like certain RTSs. I don't like them all. This might jive with me. I don't know. I'm not a Minecraft guy, but I like the Minecraft, RPG one. That was, I played hours of that. But Daniel, what are your thoughts on what we're getting this month? And obviously, for you, is this the jump off of what is expected to be a ridiculous year?
No, I don't think this is the jump off. I think this has been a crazy year already. I think this has been a crazy year.
Yeah, okay, that's fair to say. That's fair to say.
I've been busy. I'm on like my third playthrough of Resident Evil 4 at this point, and I'm
so good, dude. I'm almost at the end of it. Yeah, so good.
Oh man, it's so good. So I finished it on standard, and I'm going back through on hardcore because I got to get the infinite rocket, and then I can start doing all the time stuff, and it's great. I think I'm gonna probably at least attempt to like 100% that game. We'll see. I might get tired or spin off to some other game before then, but we'll see. The Game Pass games this month look really good. Granted, I'm probably only going to end up playing like 3 of them. I think I'll touch Minecraft Legends and be like, hey, what's going on in here? Because I really like RTSs, and specifically, I really like the Brutal Legend RTS mode. That's like honestly not very good, which looks like this sort of is a version of that where you are playing an RTS, but you're also like your own discrete character who moves around and can fight by yourself. And so that's really exciting to me. I think that'll probably help a lot more people become engaged with it, because I think RTSs are, while I love them, I think they don't really have that mass market appeal anymore. Although, Age of Empires did reasonably well. So
yeah.
I love RTSs. I love strategy games in general. It's like one of my favorite genres for sure. So we'll see. Definitely going to jump in on that, and I'll do Ghostwire Tokyo. I didn't hear particularly amazing things about it, so I don't know if I'll finish it, but we'll try. And then the last case of Benedict Cumberbatch, or whatever you guys were saying, whatever wrong thing you guys were saying.
Yeah.
The last meal of Benjamin Button or whatever. That one looks really good. That was one of the ones that really stood out to me at the last E3 showcase, and honestly, I think it was shown maybe 2 or 3 other times, and every single time I'm like, this looks really good. I'm gonna play this. It's got that Eldritch horror, like Hollow Knight-y sort of vibe, and that's all I need.
Definitely a Metroidvania-esque type of game for sure.
The lighting in that game is really good too.
It looks
like
really
atmosphere is really cool.
I'm very excited for it. So like that's more than enough for me. Just those 3, and all those other indies and other smaller things, the NHL game, those will appeal to other people, I'm sure. And who knows, maybe at some point I'll end up playing 1 or 2 of them. But yeah, no, I think April's going to be a really good month. I think it's going to be great. I think a lot of you probably won't end up playing everything that's going in there, or probably even the majority of it. And maybe that's because you'll be playing Star Wars. I think there's some other things that come out this month. Like, Resident Evil 4 has the Mercenaries DLC that comes out this month, and I think it's free. It comes out in like 6 days, 7 days. Like, it's soon. So it's just going to be a busy year in general. So I'm very excited. But I probably honestly won't play Star Wars at launch because I hate Cameron Monaghan. I hate his stupid face and his even worse Joker.
Wow.
Is it because he's a redhead? Is that?
No, I love redhead.
Yeah, he's hating on.
I am. Double Barrel Gaming does not represent
this. He's the worst
Daniel's
Joker
opinions,
to ever
including
exist.
his Nintendo.
Oh my god, you hated him as Joker?
He's the worst Joker to ever exist.
He was Jerome, technically.
He was technically Jerome. That's true. He was Jerome.
I'll tell you, I disagree with you there, just because Jared Leto lives, and he was the worst.
Yeah, because Jared Leto is breathing.
Jared Leto had the common sense to not be in most of those movies. Jerome is in like 70% of the episodes of that show, and he's ass in every single one, baby.
Oh man,
I blame the writers for that.
I would rather.
This isn't. You know what? I'm going to be honest.
I think he's a great actor. I'm with Umbra. I would blame the writers. I don't think it's him at all.
Yeah, because he's.
I like the kid as an actor. I will say
he's probably a nice person. I think a actor.
What?
This is not as bad as the rocks and sticks eating poop Nintendo fan thing that he said. So this is actually not as bad. He could have gone off the rails even worse here.
I think he's awful.
I mean, listen, it's fine. I'm excited for the game. I really enjoyed.
I'm very excited.
First one. I am a Star Wars freak. Someone had put a poll out like, "Did you see this?" And they had like the 1977 Star Wars movie poster, which is, why wouldn't you have that in your man cave? I actually went to the theater to see that with my parents in City Cinema in Co-op City in the Bronx. and I was amazed and a Star Wars nerd since then. So that's right, I am old.
Yeah, no, Star Wars is cool. I think it's a weird turn of like reality that people were like, wow, Star Wars did this whole new format. Now that it's finally a Star Wars, I can finally get into this Souls-like game. And it's like, bro, this is like the worst Souls-like. Like, it's not bad by any means, but it's worse.
Someone's doing the boo here. I like
that wasn't me. That was the chat.
And then they did the same
in unison telling you your opinions are terrible.
And spoilers for Jedi whatever.
Don't you say
Cameron
it.
Cuffington,
Don't you say it.
They did the same. They did the same glup shito poll that they do in every movie. They were like, "We know that we don't have a story here. We know that we don't have any good characters here. So we're just going to throw Darth Vader in at the end, and that'll get people to pop off because they'll be like, Darth Vader."
I don't know what game you played, sir.
And in 2, they're going to have to be like, "Oh, hey, so, oh God, who's still around? Can we get Obi-Wan in this one?
Okay.
Is Ewan McGregor?
Probably gonna be Luke.
How much money can we pay you?
Normally, I don't advocate for this for our panel, but I'm gonna ask the chat to throw some tomatoes for Danny.
No tomatoes.
No tomatoes in the chat, please. Somebody, please.
Yeah, throw some at K Asante too, because he co-signed this foolishness.
Oh
no. Kay, don't do it. Kay, don't do it, please.
He didn't do this.
Let's get this back on the rails, folks. Before he went on another tangent about this poor kid and his acting skills.
He's not a kid. He's older than me.
Listen, he's a kid to me. I'm the oldest one here. So everyone's a kid to me. Sorry. Listen. I do want to do a quick shout out. I don't know if you've seen her. I don't know if she's in the chat because I might have missed her. Cammy28, who's always here.
What's up, Cammy?
She had a emergency surgery. She's okay. She was actually streamed from her hospital bed this morning. I had tuned in for it.
Oh wow!
So big shout out to her. Hopefully she's going to be leaving the hospital soon. It wasn't serious. She actually talked about what it was. And I do appreciate her being here all the time. So, and again, she has a YouTube channel, get over there and subscribe to her. And I'm going to see if I can get her on. Yeah, she does. She has like 1.2 thousand subscribers, like 1,200 subscribers.
Idea.
Yeah. So
all love to Cammy.
Yeah. Nice, so I'm actually going to see if I can get her on one of our shows. Get her to pop on here and talk video games with us.
I'm sorry, I'm leaving.
But listen, let's. I want to move this along, and I want to talk about June because we know that there's no E3, which is fine. But we do know that Microsoft is having their traditional Xbox event. We know that Bethesda is doing a developers direct right afterwards. I would like to say that I'm attending that live, boots on the ground, but I don't know what Microsoft is doing, so I don't know, to be honest. But I would like to be there because I went to FanFest 2019. It was just incredible, just absolutely incredible. But I kind of want to talk about what we're expecting from June, because one of the things that are rumored right now, and it seems like it's just hand in hand. Keighley obviously was dancing on E3's grave the minute it was announced. He was out there dancing like
within seconds.
Within seconds, he was flash dancing on the grave.
All over it.
He was like this, the gif of the guy that plays that's like on the grave of Green Arrow, like gif that was Keighley for sure on E3.
Yeah, I think maybe he should probably wait until he puts out a good show before he starts.
He should wait because his E3 shows are terrible. They absolutely are terrible.
Like his Game Awards are fine if for what they are. They're not what I want them to be, but
no, they're definitely awful.
The Summer Game Fest.
Again, the rumor, or at least one of the rumors that are floating around, is Sony's coming back in a big way June 8th. And it just so happens that June 8th is when Keighley's event is starting. So I kind of wonder if they're going to go first. Now, remember, they haven't gone in 2 years.
True.
It's been a minute since they've gone. And obviously they've been trying to hold off either because they had no content to show, which is possible, or they were holding back the bombs because of ABK trying to get that blocked. And that obviously didn't work out too well for Jim Ryan and company. So they're going to have to show something. But Retri, this is, besides a year of actual first party releases that we are getting, and a ton of second and third party support via Game Pass. This show has to. I put it to this way: I quite enjoyed last year's show. I did not enjoy the 12 months thing because I thought they were kind of backing themselves into a corner or painting themselves into a corner, and they ultimately did that. I like tradition. I'm old, so sorry, folks. And I want, a look into the future. I don't want 3 years into the future. I don't want to do that. You give me what's coming out in the next 12 months, and then you add 6 months. You give us an 18-month package. Give us an idea. We have a lot of ideas, and we know a lot that's coming out. I want to know what we don't know. That's what this E3 needs to be for me. We know Fable is coming. We know Perfect Dark is in development, Avowed, and all these other great things. We know all of this. We've known it for years. I got to see some new stuff, man. I got to see Compulsion's game. I got to see Indiana Jones. I got to see a few other things that we haven't seen. Contraband would be dope. What the hell is Contraband? I don't know.
Right.
I'd like to know what are you expecting from June?
Well, it's hard to say, right? Because I don't know, like, what. I agree with you. I want more of a 18 months or even further. I'm okay with further. I'm okay with them selling me the sizzle, without the steak. I think you got to get fans excited for the future of Xbox and the ecosystem, so you can get them to buy a system now for what comes out later. I don't have a problem with them doing that personally. Obviously, like, Starfield is going to have its own show, so you're going to have the direct with that. So that's kind of being pushed out solo from Xbox's and Bethesda's main show. But I mean, I want to, obviously, Hellblade 2. I think we've seen enough of that, but I won't be surprised if we see some more of that. And I mean, State of Decay 3, what the heck's going on with State of Decay? You know what I mean? I want to know about that. I'd like to get a definitive date for Age of Empires 4 on console, because I think that's, well, I know that's a good game. I played it on PC. It's a great game. People should be excited for that. And if you're not into those type of games, that's the type of game that I think would get you into that
Eric
genre.
B says, just show me Fable already.
Yeah,
I agree. I mean,
he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. We got to get, like, what's going on? What's, like you said, Contraband. Most people don't even know what Contraband is. What about, like, Everwild? We've seen that's possibly maybe, like, changing the direction they're going in. Like, I want to know what the heck's going on with Everwild. I don't expect to see it either. I would like to know it still is in existence and things are moving forward. But Fable is a big one. I definitely want to see Fable. Probably more than anything, though, is personally, I want to see Avowed. I want to see Obsidian's next RPG. I need to see what the heck is going on with the Avowed.
Yeah.
We've only seen that quick little, a trailer where he's, doing the magic spell and he's got the sword in the other hand or whatever. That was cool when we saw it years ago. I want to see something else. Like, what is
Andy
this game?
Angrand says Double Fine Productions. That's another one. Like, we know that they're working on something.
Double Fine. I don't think we're going to see anything from Double Fine. I guess it depends if Double Fine what their schedule is like. Are they going to be pushing out games in 4 years? Because Psychonauts 2 wasn't that long ago, so maybe we'll just
if we do see something from them, it'll be a smaller game, because I know that's one of the things that they do is they'll usually have, like, a bunch of smaller games and then do a big one. So I think it's possible that we see something from Double Fine, but it won't be.
It would be nice. I would love to see, like, what the next idea for Double Fine is, especially after watching 22 hours of their documentary. I clearly invested in what Double Fine is doing. But and they're a very cool studio. They're one of those studios where we see Sony not taking chances. Double Fine takes chances. They're weird. Let them stay weird. Don't mess with Double Fine. Let them keep doing what they're doing. And it will be, I'm sure, a cool indie experience. And obviously now they have the backing of Microsoft, so they're going to have a lot more money to deal with.
I don't know for sure, but I feel like you would. Have they also been staffing up like everyone else seems to have been since they were acquired?
So not a lot, though. Not to the extent the other studios have. I don't know if you guys know about this, but as far as the research I've done, they've probably added 20 people, which for Double Fine isn't really small either.
No, I mean
that's still a small studio.
But you know, when you compare it to like, hey, Ninja Theory is building a new building, or like,
a Ninja Theory literally like almost like, God, I don't know, 6 times their. I mean, they literally times 6 their staff. So
I think Obsidian did some big hiring too. I might be making this up, but I thought I saw that Obsidian did some big hiring. They didn't like open a new studio or anything, but I want to say they hired like 50 new people. 50.
I don't know about Obsidian, but I would imagine if I were Xbox, if there's someone I'm expanding out, Obsidian's definitely one of them. Sure. I don't know the numbers on Obsidian, but that is a studio I would put some serious money and stake behind personally. But I like, what the heck is going on with like Contraband? It's supposed to, if you guys don't remember, it's supposed to be like a multiplayer heist game.
Yeah.
With vehicle combat. That's all we know. From Avalanche is working with Microsoft, from the guys who made Mad Max and Just Cause, games that I think are pretty dang good. Like, I like the Just Cause series. Mad Max, underrated, very underrated in my opinion. So Avalanche is a pretty good studio.
Love Mad Max.
Yeah, Mad Max.
That's a very underrated game. A lot of people didn't play it. How that is a phenomenal.
I heard good things though.
Phenomenal. Yeah, it's super underrated, I think. And like you said, Boom, Indiana Jones. I think maybe there's a small chance we see that from Machine Games. Like, I don't know. Like,
what about Wolfenstein 3? Like, that's another one. Where's the
well, I think that I don't think we're seeing that at all.
Right? Is Microsoft and a lot of the games industry right now, it keeps doing this thing, and they're getting themselves in trouble with it by just announcing stuff way too soon.
I agree.
Like, Ubisoft is like, here's 6 Assassin's Creed games, and like CD Projekt Red announced a bunch of stuff and then had to immediately backtrack on half of it. And it's like, just don't do it. Just don't do that. Like, I understand the Indiana Jones thing because it probably had to be announced before the acquisition went through or something. But a lot of these other ones where it's like I don't know, Fable, or some of those may have been announced too early just because we had already heard about them. Yeah, like that Perfect Dark. I think that they announced those. They definitely announced them too early, but I think the reason they did is because they had already kind of leaked and they were like, yeah, all right, whatever. At least you can know that it's happening. But yeah, they just keep announcing these things too early, which is why I'm hoping that they stop doing that.
Yeah, people in the chat are talking about the Quake reboot is another one that we, with the female protagonist. That I can't wait to see what they're doing with that.
Yeah, has that been officially announced? I have not.
It's been rumored. They haven't really announced.
I don't remember if it was officially announced, but it's definitely been rumored for a while. And I mean, if that doesn't feel like one that's going to hit the show floor either this year, I'd imagine we're not going to hear anything about that whatsoever. I mean, everything I just.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. I'll go to QuakeCon in August and I'll let you know if it shows up.
Yeah, that's usually in Texas, right?
Yeah, it's like 10 minutes from me.
Oh, that's awesome. That's I would go to that. I would go to that every year because I'm a huge fan of what
it's
they do.
It's free too, or at least it has been. I don't know. Maybe now that they're like a bigger deal, maybe it won't be. But
yeah,
I mean, listen, we'll
I don't know.
See.
I don't know if there's going to be any surprisers, really. Like,
I think there has to be. I don't know. Yeah. Again, I've said my piece about hey, we got one more for you. I think they're, a lot of people talking about the shadow drop. Hey, boom, the shadow drop. Yeah, the shadow drops are awesome. Mm-hmm. It worked for Hi-Fi Rush, which is already like the top of my list for game of the year. Like, it's an amazing game that's literally perfect. Like, I
love it.
Yeah, you've only beaten it like 17 times, of course, but
that's how I'm trying to be.
Let's Umber, let's bring you in on the conversation. I don't like putting unnecessary pressure on. This has to be the show or Microsoft is going away. You know what I'm saying? But I think I hate to be the you owe me kind of a thing, but last year's show was good.
But you owe me.
But you kind of owe us as fans a bit. I mean, I understand a business. I understand delays. I understand there was a pandemic that's still, maybe not as, devastating as it once was, but it's still an issue in game development. People are still working from home. I want a show. I don't need a show of dreams. It's like Sony shoots their shot and tries to do these Year of Dreams things, and then you're waiting 7 years for a game to come out. And I'm not cool with that. I don't need Microsoft to do that. But I think we are at a point, Umbra. And again, this is not being a jerk. This is just being fair. We have to see what's going on with Fable. We have to see what's going on with Avowed. Mm-hmm. We have to see what's going on with Compulsion's game. Remember that is a rumored BioShock meets Uncharted in a fantasy kind of a thing. At least that's what it was rumored to be. I think listen, we know that Starfield isn't going to be taking up space on Microsoft's stage because they're going to have their own thing. And I think that's the show that I think everyone is waiting for, because we've seen gameplay. The newest trailer is amazing, but we want to see full on Todd Howard out there with his leather bomber jacket that he's going to be wearing in that hot ass place, and just dropping what is expected to be game of the generation. Like the same way Skyrim came out and was just the game of the generation, then I think Starfield is going to be the game of the generation. I think there's a reason why, even though we haven't seen it, Sony wanted this locked up as an exclusive IP to PlayStation. There is a reason outside of it being a Todd Howard 25-year in the making experience.
You had an interesting super chat that popped up that directly correlated to what you just said, by the way.
Okay, so let me just read let me catch up with them. We have Nintendon, the otaku, dropped a $2 super chat and says Daniel McGee with another terrible take. And he's talking about the Star Wars one. So Nintendon, thank you for that,
which of my takes Nintendon didn't like.
Well, you said that the Nintendo fans, including me being one of them, eat poo and fling rocks. So I don't know.
That's fine. You can throw your what he's talking about. I got bones to break.
We have going to break your bones, but
this
words are going to hurt you today.
Okay, so this has got to be the most funny and scandalous name I've ever read out as a super chat. My sack on your chin drops $10 and says Sony has a monopoly in the Japanese market. Kids. They have over 90% of the market and have always locked down big Japanese games. There's actually the story that was that I'm going to wind up using on Tuesday or Friday is Xbox for Koreans, who has exploded on the scene with just being a part of Twitter. They had put out a post where some senators actually said some things regarding Sony literally having in the contract writings in the contract that they almost forbid Xbox from getting games in Japan. So that's again, if it winds up to be true, and there's a letter attached to it signed by the people in I was gonna say Parliament, but in government. If that in fact is true, like I said, Sony. I said it on yesterday's episode of the Xbox Lunch Break special. I think Sony is potentially going to have an investigation open up against them. And maybe in a couple of regions, because what they have really exposed themselves as not only being a dominant market leader, but in some places, like in Japan, like in Europe, a monopoly. So I think they're in a bit of trouble. And a Gamer Bum drops a very generous $8 super chat and says, I disagree with the view that Starfield is of monumental importance for XGS. As excited as I am, it's just one game. Yeah, I disagree 1,000%, brother. I mean, I appreciate the super chat.
I do agree 100%.
I don't agree at all. I think Starfield.
Here's another bad take from Daniel.
Yeah, no. I mean, listen. There's something to be said. Look, folks. Here's the thing. Nintendo releases a new Mario game, and it stops the industry. Whether you like Nintendo or you don't, the Zelda game, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, has stopped and will stop the industry when it releases. When Spider-Man 2 comes out, it's going to stop the industry. Sony, say what you want about it. Oh, well, it's just swinging around New York. Good on you if that's what you think. I don't think like that. I freaking love it. In fact, I platinumed Spider-Man 2018, and I'm one trophy away from platinum Miles Morales. In fact, Miles Morales made me cry in the first 10 fucking minutes.
It's so all right. Good.
It's just game. Ridiculously good.
Right.
But Starfield, and again, this is my opinion. It might be a bad take. Not only needs to be that, but that's why I'm pushing. This narrative with the Starfield thing about it being monumental, because there has not been a monumental stop the industry game for Microsoft, folks, since Halo 3, which that stopped the industry in its tracks. I think Starfield is going to be that, but again, that's not so much the topic on hand here. Let's Infinite Number. What does E3 2023 need to be for both Xbox and Bethesda for you?
Well, I'm gonna touch on that super chat really quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to say, Starfield matters so much because as of this moment, Game Pass hasn't given us that super high quality AAA. What's the word they always like to use?
Banger.
Right. Did you forget about Gear 6 or
now
where are we at?
We haven't had Gear 6.
Or sorry, Gears 5. My numbers are bad. I can't look, just because I have an engineering degree doesn't mean I understand.
There you go. Well, yeah, numbers are hard.
Numbers.
Gears 5 launched straight into Game Pass. And
I
that's
loved Gears 5.
One of the best ones.
It did not get the love it deserved, in my opinion. But Gears 5 was not that system mover for it. We all know that, unfortunately.
I mean, it should have been.
It should have. In my opinion, I agree. It just wasn't. And same thing with Halo. I love Halo. I play it almost every day.
Right. We all forget that when Halo came out, it launched at like 97, 10 out of 10
it did.
reviews. And then people are like,
hindsight, though, however, it did not last. You see what I mean? That's the problem. See, the problem is it didn't last. That's the thing. And Starfield, much like any of the Elder Scrolls games, those last. Those are long-lasting games that not only just the time and involvement you put into it, and it's going to be gigantic because of the 1,000 planets and all that you get to go through and all that, and of course DLC and everything that's going to come along.
Right.
That those games are going to go generational, right? They're going to be, how you know how they do. Yeah. So we'll have it Starfield on the Xbox XXX4 or whatever it's going to be called, whatever in the future. So that game matters so much because it's a not only is it a 25-year in the game in the making for Todd Howard, which is really important, but it's also going to establish Microsoft as the de facto to me, as far as turning a new corner, I think, in what they can offer. We don't have that question when it comes to Sony. You don't think with their AAA offerings, is it going to be this? You know you're going to get quality with Naughty Dog. You know you're going to get quality with Insomniac. You know you're going to get that from, heck, even now, what's their name? Ones that made Ghost of Tsushima. Sucker Punch. So
Sucker Punch stuff.
A lot of those are quantifiable and understood as solid.
Sure, but they put out one bust game, and they're going to go the way of Sony Bend, where they just become Naughty Dog North. So,
right? Yeah. I mean, you only sold 3 million units. Get out of here.
You're talking about for Ghost of Tsushima?
You're making factions now, baby, just like any studio.
Yeah, I mean, here's Sony might have that issue, but my thing is this: I'm saying that they don't have the issue of people questioning whether their games are going to be top-notch first party.
I agree.
Yeah,
and when you have now what Microsoft has is the opportunity, because they faltered here and there with some AAAs where, we loved them, but there were certain issues at the back end of it. Halo Infinite, we loved it at the onset, but obviously it faltered when it came to content, right? And it faltered in certain other areas that's, that people hit and miss, the desync and things like that. I can go on and on, but I'm just saying this right here is a really important game for that reason, to establish Game Pass as de facto that you have to have it, in my opinion.
Sure.
There's no argument, because now you don't need Game Pass.
The argument that doesn't exist.
So here comes sticks and stones.
Here we go. Okay, so I think the place where we're sort of making the separation here is there's a very big difference between a game is going to be massive and it's going to be really, really good, and it's going to be important to the company. The fact of the matter is, Starfield, it is going to be important to the company, but a lot of people are putting so much weight on it. Like, this is the game of the generation. This is going to be make or break for Xbox. And it's not. The fact of the matter is, this game could come out. It could be a 2 out of 10, which it's not going to be. It's going to be like an 8, maybe a 9, right? It could be a 2 out of 10, and it wouldn't matter. Microsoft has all the money in the world. They're not going to shut down Xbox. They've got Hellblade coming out next year. They got Avowed coming out next year. There are so many games that we can already see that are coming out in the next little bit that are going to make more money. Starfield is going to come out, and it might be like this gangbuster game where a lot of people talk about it, and it's really big in the critical field. And you know what? It'll still make less money than Minecraft. It'll still make less money than Sea of Thieves. It'll still make less money than Call of Duty, or probably even Diablo Immortal. or Candy Crush, right? Like, it's going to make less money than all of those things. So for us, it might be a big deal. For us, it might be this thing where it's like, yes, now there's going to be these people who are going to be slightly less like hating on Xbox, and that's cool. I'll have one less mean DM, and I can say that Nintendo is sticks and rocks one more time, and then it'll make that up, and we'll fill in the blanks with that. But at the end of the day, like, the business side of it, Starfield is not going to make billions and billions of dollars in the same way that Call of Duty or any of these other things are going to do. It's going to be a great game. I'm going to play it for like 6 years, right? Like, it's going to be super good, but there's no like this theory that it's going to be like this huge generational game. It's just not. And the reason for that is because I disagree, but it's okay. The reason it's not on the same, it's never going to be on the same level as Spider-Man 2. It's never going to be on the same level as Zelda. It's never going to be on the same level as Mario. It's not, because Mario and Zelda have cachet where they can put out a game that sticks and rocks, and people will defend it in the comments and tell me I'm wrong. They can put out a game.
But see, you're looking at it the wrong way this year. But you're looking
at
it the wrong way.
It's going to run at 10 frames a second.
It's two things you're looking at.
Exact same map as the last game.
There's two different things you're looking at wrong, though. See, you're going by monetary value. You're saying,
right, well, thank you. I was just going to say that. There's a difference between financial and zeitgeist.
Exactly.
Right? Yes.
There's doesn't really matter, though, as long as the money's coming in.
Yeah, well, right. But if you're talking about it being a 2 out of 10, which it won't be, of course.
It won't be.
You're saying
for sure will not be.
Then absolutely it will hurt it as far as that goes. But my thing of it is you're arguing two different types of points. We're not arguing about money.
True is the problem.
but we're not arguing as far as what money it will bring. We're talking about necessarily as far as sales, at least. We're talking about subscriptions. We're talking about the reception of Game Pass and Microsoft as a whole. Microsoft already has sometimes a negative connotation on how they run their studios.
Right. And Starfield's coming out, turn that around.
No, it'll help. Matter. It'll help in a large way. And because they delayed it the way they did, if it comes out and launches at a 90 plus whatever meta, which I think it will, and it, absolutely, let's say it wins Game of the Year. You're telling me that's not going to matter? That's absolutely going to matter to the whole of Xbox on how they're received. Now, I'll give you that, it matters more to us, but that's what I'm talking to. Us. Everybody in this chat is us.
Sure.
We are the hardcore. I'm not talking about casuals.
But Danny's probably also talking about the normie who doesn't know about Starfield either. Is it going to matter in the zeitgeist? Is it going to matter in the zeitgeist?
That's what I mean. Like I'm talking about, when we're talking about this, I'm talking about us. I'm not talking about casuals who don't talk like we talk. They're not even listening to us right now. I'm talking about us. So when I say that, it's not a matter of just sales, because you can argue sales all day.
Mm-hmm. Sales is never going to be a good. It's not going to work for this anyways because of Game Pass.
I'll counter that with him right there. He talks about Zelda with the sticks and stones. Zelda will outsell every single game you love
because it's Zelda.
There you go. So I'm just simply saying you can't use sales as a barometer.
But that's exactly my point.
You know what I mean? Because it doesn't necessarily mean that.
But that's exactly my point. The reason why Zelda sells so much is because it already has that narrative of people being like, Zelda's the best thing ever, even though it's not.
Zelda's beloved. It's a beloved franchise. That's why.
And Starfield isn't, because it's a brand new IP.
Right. But you know what is beloved?
Right. No matter what. No matter
Todd
what,
Howard is beloved.
Starfield can come out and it's going to be a 10 out of 10 perfect game. It can step out the box and give you a blowjob, and it's not going to turn the narrative around.
I think
that game's going to come out, and there's going to be 100,000 people on Twitter who's going to find like the one NPC on the backwater planet, and they're going to post it, because that's what Xbox fanboys did for Spider-Man.
But those trolls don't matter. But those trolls don't matter. See, if you go to the lowest
common denominator, that's the that you're talking about.
No, it's really not.
That's a small number of.
Yeah, you're talking about the lowest common denominator troll. They do not matter. I'm talking about the hardcore. I'm talking about the media. The media are not.
The media is not going to turn around, because the media is those trolls.
No, the media is not out there. Look at this one NPC in the back. His head turned around the wrong way. That's not what they're going to focus on.
I think we've been reading different Kotaku articles.
I don't know. I actually kind of siding with Daniel a little bit on that side. I don't know if I disagree with him on that.
Media. Is Game Informer going to do that? Is IGN? No. You're talking about the worst of the worst. If you say Kotaku, that's automatically okay. Sure, they might do that. I don't think even
Dual Shockers, perhaps, maybe.
We're gonna talk about Dual Shockers tomorrow night on Primetime Gaming. We got a lot to get into there.
I don't have faith in journalists today. I'm kind of I think I'm with Daniel on this. I think they've proven over and over again. We've even watched VGC Unblocked because of the stuff I've said on this podcast about VGC. I don't see them. I just don't see journalists backing up Xbox. I think it's possible it gets worse before it gets better. But I do think Starfield is going to be a zeitgeist game. I think it's going to be a generational
I think it'll
Skyrim game, but financially, I do agree with you, Daniel. I don't think it's a Minecraft. I don't think it's a Spider-Man, and I don't think it will be that for Xbox. I don't think it can, because the whole the way consumers, and this is where I might disagree with Boom and Umbra, but the way we consume media now is different. Game Pass has almost ruined that. They might, if without Game Pass, then I think Starfield had a chance against zeitgeist like Spider-Man and your Zeldas and your Minecrafts. But because it exists, we all take it for granted, right? Where sales are now, they're going to dig at the sales. They're going to be like, well, you guys all, because the sales aren't going to be crazy. You can't.
I don't think that's what they're
games
looking
like Spider-Man.
for. See, that's the thing.
I'm not saying they are. I'm talking about. I'm not saying Microsoft's looking for that. I'm not looking for that. We're talking about zeitgeist.
But that's why I countered his point of sales, and you agreed with, because Game Pass ultimately would automatically it would cut into sales. So you can't use that. It's not a real barometer to use.
Sure.
Well, the sales,
but they're going to. You can't use it. I can't use it, but they're gonna use it.
No,
it's gonna be used.
That is,
right?
You know what I'm saying? They will, but those people don't matter. Is what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. And the people who are going to use that are not worthwhile. We all know it. Even those in the chat, you guys all know it. The only ones that's going to use it are 2%
of the toxic industry.
For sure,
2% at best.
Sure.
So that is not a real barometer. And sales is not the barometer. There are quality games that sold nothing. There are trash games that sold a lot. That is never the barometer. The barometer is different. Now, the zeitgeist you're talking about,
it's not
basic level trolls. I'm talking about, when you say generational game, I'm talking the Oblivions. I'm talking the Elder Scrolls.
Skyrim.
I agree. And I agree with that.
Doesn't like the
this is what Todd Howard
did not get turned around by Oblivion.
No,
I disagree with that.
Oblivion sales numbers are nowhere near.
It's not a matter of sales.
Right?
Keep going to sales.
But no,
but we're talking about. Hold on. But we're talking about quality. We're talking about something that sticks with you for generations. Oblivion still sticks with people to this day. When you step out of that sewer, to this day, that is a zeitgeist moment. That is not. It sold a lot, or it only sold this much.
It's nowhere near.
I think personally, it's reckless to suggest because of that. Yeah, I think it's reckless to suggest, because Spider-Man is a zeitgeist type of character, and Zelda or Link is a zeitgeist character, that something as new as Starfield, which is expected to not only bring user content creation to another level, which Bethesda is known for. This is Bethesda we're talking about. Again, maybe it's not a high ranker for you, and I don't know who I'm talking to. If it doesn't hit your blip on your map, okay, I hear you, but it certainly blips for me. And I think to suggest that it's going to be anything other than generational is looking through the keyhole, not opening the door.
It's going to be a phenomenal game.
I think we're talking about multiple different things here, though.
Right? Like, it's going to be a very good game, and we all know that, and everyone in the chat knows that. What I'm saying is that if it comes out and by some miracle it's terrible, it's not going to shut down Xbox. It's not going to shut down Microsoft.
But
people are talking about it like it's make or break.
No,
and it's not.
I don't think anyone suggested that, Daniel. Yeah. I think
you were not suggesting that, but people, the zeitgeist have been suggesting.
The trolls,
that.
You mean?
The people? No, literally the people who write these articles. The people who are who every single month, every single
Starfield
time
has to be good for
every single time an Xbox game comes out, and because it's in Game Pass, it doesn't do those sales numbers like you were talking about, and so it doesn't hit NPD. They're like, oh man, Xbox is trash. And then those things get shared and shared and shared. And that's what the zeitgeist sees.
So you're saying the sensationalists then who are trying to get people to click on their articles.
Yeah, because those are the normies, the zeitgeist.
Those are not the normies.
Those articles.
Those are you talking about people?
Those are not the normies, dude.
I think those people who are going to see those articles.
Then why does Japan have a 98-2? Why is the UK this and that? Right?
I think the zeitgeist, as you're pointing it out, as you're saying it, with these people who are writing these articles, those are clickbait trolls, and they're aiming for ponies and our Hoove brothers, excuse my expression, who are looking for negatives. I'm not going to use them.
There's 130 million of them.
Yeah, it's a lot of ponies out here.
Yeah, but there's also something to be said about Microsoft dropping the ball on first party. You know what I'm saying? Let's not. I'm not making an excuse for them. Sony is in first place because they make really good freaking games. And they do have some characters that are zeitgeist level characters. The whole point of Starfield needing to be this zeitgeist thing, and I believe it still is going to be, is because it's Bethesda. And Microsoft needs a game to build momentum on of trust. That's what, and I think actually that starts with Redfall.
I think that's a very good point, Boom. And this is why I was saying earlier, I think every single thing that Microsoft has under their belt, first party, gets pushed back, like I was saying earlier, 6 months to a year. It's like almost everything's getting extra polished, because I think they're trying to look at what Sony has done. And I think they're trying to replicate that sort of polish.
I agree with that.
Metacritic or not, whether you hate it or not, you can say it doesn't matter. It matters.
It does matter.
It matters because it comes up every effing time. Every time it comes up. So you can't say it doesn't matter in the same breath when you're bringing it up.
I'll just add this, and I'll add this. I'll add this, and I want to actually get back to the topic at hand, because we
went off the rails slightly a little bit.
But I just want to say this. I want to say this, and I'll answer the question, Boom. We know that, for instance, our view on this is right as far as what, and many of the gamers in the community are saying that Starfield matters so much because Microsoft has shown us that it matters so much. They're not doing all that they've done. They're not delaying it as they delayed it twice now. They're not doing all of that for nothing. It matters to them greatly.
It does.
This is not some normal release for them. They're showing that. So you can't say that it doesn't matter in the same vein.
I'm not saying it doesn't matter.
Well, I'm not saying that you're saying that. I'm just simply saying when you say it does not matter in the grand scheme, it absolutely does matter in the grand scheme. Even if it didn't, even if it did like came out of the 2 whatever, that absolutely would hurt the overall view and image of Game Pass. It absolutely would hurt Microsoft in the view of how they run their studios. They already have a negative stigma now. That would not improve it. That would hurt them. So I'm saying Microsoft has shown us. We can say what we want till the cows come home. Microsoft has shown us that it matters. That's why they delayed it as they do. That's why they've given them as much time as they've given them. It matters. But anyway, just to get back to as far as E3, the showcase for this year, I expect we'll see something for Forza Motorsport. I don't know if that'll be coming out in the second half or not. But I think we'll see that. I was hoping for the deal to have gone through because we could have got Diablo 4 announced.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's happening. But maybe we'll see something they'll show like, oh, this is coming soon or something, or I don't know. Some new character, maybe the Paladin or something like that, right? Maybe they'll show something like that. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Fable just because I want it so desperately. I want to see that. So I pray that they show that. Avowed, I hope they show that. You have In Exiles, and I have to say this, Kayasanti, UE5 engine-based first-person shooter RPG that's coming out. We have Compulsion's dark fantasy story-driven single-player game coming out. That might be shown. Why not? It's been a long time. We haven't heard anything from Compulsion and In Exile when it comes to that. Contraband. I think Contraband was supposed to have come out last year, right? Supposedly.
Yeah, that's got delayed also. So
exactly. So I expect to see gameplay of that, a reveal finally. Replaced Silk Song as far as Hollow Knight. They might show that and give an announcement date for those. And one thing that we all kind of forgot about, Certain Affinities Battle Royale.
Yep.
They might show that there. Those are my thoughts for what they might show here. And if they showed all of this,
there's a rumor too about that it's popping up sooner than people think. I don't know if there's any if it's true or not, but I just saw that the other day.
I hope so. And if all those right there I listed off actually go there, that would be a showcase or E3, if what it would want to call this, for the decade. I think it'd be one of the greatest ones for Microsoft if that all went off without a hitch. And that's not even including whatever third party they would show outside of the 2 I named. So yeah, that's mine on that. Sorry everybody for the chat.
No. It's a conversational podcast. What we do.
We're allowed to disagree.
Yeah, it's all love. It's all love.
It's good to disagree. Nobody wants a bunch of yes men on the show. So Daniel, again, we know what your take is on Starfield, and that's fine. I have no argument there.
And to be clear, I think it's going to be probably my game of the year. That's not. I was at no point was I saying I don't think that game's going to be good.
No, I know. Right. No, I don't think everybody thought that. To be honest,
I think it's going to sell fine.
Danny Zelda and shipping it to him.
I am going to say this.
It's the only way I play it.
I actually got Zelda for $50, actually, digitally, because when you buy the console, it doesn't come with the game, which is shocking. But I bought the console anyway because, well, that's what I do. Daniel, let's get your take on what you're expecting from E3. I'm expecting this to be big, because I'm expecting Microsoft to have a big first party year. I think that what I want to see out of this year, on top of first party finally hitting, ABK finally closing, I want to see what they're working on with games that we have no idea outside of a CG trailer. I want to see what's going on with Fable and Avowed and a few others. What are you expecting for them to bring to the table at their show, at both showcases for that matter?
Well, I mean, the Starfield showcase, I think, pretty much writes itself, right? It's going to be, what did they say? Did they give us a time for that? Is it like 30 minutes probably?
They didn't specifically say. They said it happens right after. So I would imagine it's probably going to be 30 minutes, 40 minutes probably right at best.
Yeah. So I imagine that's just going to be a lot of like, here's how the gameplay works. Here's the different factions. Here's the lore. And that'll be great, because we like, that sounds really dry, but Todd's going to talk about it and we're all going to be like, yes, please tell me more, Todd. Or at least I will be, right? Because we love that man. So yeah, it's going to be, so that one sort of writes itself for sure. As far as the E3 showcase, the Xbox, I think, are they just calling it the Xbox showcase now? I think they cut Bethesda out of the name this time. But yeah, regardless, I think the two things that I'm for sure expecting are Hellblade and Avowed. I think that those are pretty much dead set. Because I think those are going to be the big games of next year. I know there's some rumor as to like Hellblade maybe coming out at the end of this year, and that'd be great. But
that would be awesome.
I don't really, I don't see that happening. I think if Starfield is coming out in September and we still don't have an announced release date for Forza, that's probably going to be October, November, and then I think that's going to be the year for us. And that's, I'm fine with that, right? Like, yes, all those games are supposed to have already been out, but I don't know. It's no skin off my butt. I've been playing plenty of games. So I think Avowed and Hellblade are going to be the big ones, and then I think, I don't know, we might see, I guess we got to fill in what the other gaps of that year are. I mean, we'll probably see Forza Motorsport there. I think that's probably where we'll get the release date for that, and it'll be late. It'll be like holiday this year, 2023.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we get another, like, here's these like old Japanese games that are finally coming to Xbox. There was some rumor that it would be SMT, that franchise, so I could see something on that level. That guy knows.
I think that just to jump on that, I think that rumor is 100% true. I expect that to happen.
I'd be surprised if it wasn't. I don't know if it'll be necessarily at E3, but I'd be surprised if it doesn't end up coming true.
What rumor is that?
The SMT, just because like Sega has specifically been Shin Megami Tensei. It's Persona's a spinoff of SMT. So Sega has historically, since they put the Yakuza games in, have been like, wow, did you know Game Pass is really good for us? And so like, yeah, I think that they'll probably continue that trend of putting their games on there. I mean, Game Pass was the thing that pushed them over the edge to finally port their old Persona games, which is something that we've been asking for a decade and a half. So I would not be surprised to see these come over. As far as like surprises, I think the biggest surprise that I would be really hoping for is to see Compulsion's game. I think that that's something that has been rumored for a very long time, and it sounds really exciting. And just all of the rumors we've been hearing about it from like Jez and Grubb and all of them have been like, yeah, it's going to come out this year. It's going to come out this year. And then it hasn't for the last like 2 years. So it's got to be close, right? Like theoretically. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping to see that. And I think we'll probably get like maybe one other first party game that's supposed to come out 2023. And then after that, I'm just hoping that I'm hoping that we just get like one or two updates on some of these further out games.
Yeah.
If it's Indiana Jones, that'd be great. I'd like to get an answer to the question of whether or not that's going to be multi-platform, so that we can figure that one out. I think Fable is probably one that people are really asking for. We've been hearing that it's apparently playable, so it might be time to show a vertical slice of that. Perfect Dark, even I've been hearing that one's pretty far along. I don't expect it 2024. I think that's probably like a 2025 game, but I think we could definitely see some of those games. It's going to be an exciting time, right? Because I don't necessarily think we're going to get a ton of new announcements of like brand new games, but I think that this is the time that we're going to start getting like, hey, these are when these games that we announced way too early are finally going to get like actually solidified into, hey, what is this game? And maybe what year is it coming out? I'd be surprised if we get release dates past like this year. Like, I don't think they're going to be like, and Hellblade is coming out February, but like, hey, maybe they do, and that'd be great. But I wouldn't expect it. I think that they've had to delay so many things lately that they're probably just going to be like holding that as close to the chest as possible, and then do a developer direct later down the road. So yeah, I think it'll be a really good one. I don't think it's going to be, like, I would love for it to be like the best E3 conference that they've ever had, but it seems unlikely. If I was them, I would be kind of holding back on a couple of things just because we already have so many things already announced that people are asking, like, where is this? Where's that? And then also there's that rumor of PlayStation finally putting out another showcase. And we know that that's going to be massive whenever that finally happens, because right now we only know what like one, maybe two of their first party studios are doing. And like, they're all working on something. So theoretically, whenever that does happen, hopefully sooner rather than later, they're going to be like, here's the entire next like phase of PlayStation games. And that's going to be like hell anybody's going to be talking about for like whatever month or 2 months after it comes out. So if that is also going to be June, then I would maybe hold back some other announcements and be like, we'll save this for the Game Awards, or we'll save this for whatever. Cause you're just not going to break through the PlayStation crowd if they're coming out and they're being like, here's Uncharted and here's Last of Us and here's the Spider-Man and here, like they're going to hit things that are just going to completely take over the entire media cycle for like a month. So hopefully for Microsoft's sake, that's not like right next to each other, but even
the rumor is the 8th and Microsoft is going on the 11th. So,
hopefully
we'll see what happens.
I'll be fine either way, because like there's always that like, oh, these games got lost in the shuffle because all these things were announced back to back. I love that, right? Not the things getting lost in the shuffle. I love everything getting announced. Like the E3 season is my favorite time of year. Mm-hmm. So if they want to do all these things, and I'm sure Nintendo will do something too, then I'm here for it. I just man, PlayStation's been holding back for so long that if they put out a showcase at this point and it's anything less than a 10, it's an L. You know what I mean? Because it's been like 2 years since they've had
almost 2 years. Yeah, it's been a minute since they've done anything big.
Like,
and I think
whenever they do their proper showcase, if there's a single VR game in there, they've lost me.
There's not going to be one because PlayStation VR 2.0 doesn't exist because it's sold like shit. So there you go. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this week's very off the rails, on the rails. I kind of feel like I'm Leon Kennedy in Resident Evil 4 in those mine carts. You're holding on left, right, and center. But this is a great show. Let me catch up on the last few super chats that came in. Decado, good friend of the program, drops a $5 super chat and says, boom. Todd Howard needs to don a leather spacesuit for Starfield, or it will be a loss to gaming. I love it. If anyone could pull off a pleather spacesuit, it would be Todd Howard. Nintendon, the Otaku, drops an additional $5 super chat and says Starfield will be generational, and I bet it will have user-created content that will make it last longer for players and even have monetization. It's possible. I mean, I get. I want Boba Fett Slave 1 as my ship, as my skin.
Give me the Millennium Falcon, and I'm sold.
Millennium Falcon, X-Wing, pick whatever you want. I don't care what you want.
The tramp stamp on Leon Kennedy in like 2 hours. We'll find a way to get Slave 1.
Oh my God! Dreadful Sean, who's been a channel member for 2 months, drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, "When The Last of Us port dropped, there was an article praising the glitches. If it was an Xbox franchise, that would have been 10 articles dragging it through. I mean, the media is. I people have said in many of the shows that we do, and I think Retri, you might subscribe to this, that once the ABK deal is done, we're going to see an onslaught of negative articles. I mean, hell, we've seen like anywhere between 4 and 8 in the last 3 weeks, from VGC to V24 247 to the one that Colt Eastwood basically threw under the bus and just backed up over them and sat there laughing, because we're going to talk about that on Primetime Gaming tomorrow. It is the most ridiculously written article I've ever. I had to read it because Colt Eastwood talked about it, and I wanted to talk about it on the show, so I'm not going to go in there blind. It is the most preposterous article. It is written by just a knucklehead, and the fact that this is actually in written form out there and not in someone's brain pan sitting and collecting dust as it should is shocking to me, that dual shockers would allow this kind of rhetoric. It is preposterous at best. We're going to get into that tomorrow. We also have the Black Ronin. Oh, well, Black Ronin 357 drops a very generous $10 super chat and say, boom, this unfair amount of pressure that everyone is putting on Xbox and Starfield is undue. We all want it to be a good show, or he says to be good, but that metric is going to be different for everyone. Oh, there's no doubt about it. I actually am not putting any pressure on Microsoft. I just want updates on games that I've already known about for 4 years. And I think that they owe us that. We need to see Avowed. Mm-hmm. We need to see Fable. I'm sorry. We have to see these things. Indiana Jones. I show me a slice. Show me what we're playing. Is it first person? Is it third person? Does it look like Uncharted? I have to know these things.
And speaking of that, with Starfield, Todd Howard was interviewed about that, and he says he understands the pressure. He wants that. He's not shying away from that.
Right.
So
he did.
He's going to make a diamond out of that pressure. So I'm not even worried about it. You know what I mean? This is something that all of us should be putting high value and thoughts on. Honestly, it should not be looked at as a regular release. It should be looked at as a marquee game, because that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe it's going to be a masterpiece, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, me too. I understand what they're doing. That's why it was delayed. And I think Umbert was right. The reason why it was delayed multiple times, when Todd Howard said, no, it's not pencil, it's ink. You know what I'm saying? When he locked in that 11/11 date.
I remember that.
For them to delay it as much as they've done, especially get box out of the, quote unquote 12-month thing that they pushed last year, they have to want this game to hit, and I think that's what they're going for. But let's get to the outros. And I know someone in the chat said, "Boom, is this the only game that you play?" Listen, folks, I don't have a lot of time, and I have days in a few games. This is one of them. The Division is another. Titanfall is another. I mean, I would imagine you're not here for the video. You're here for the podcasters who are, taking their time out of their day to talk about gaming. I just put this in the background so you can watch it running. If you don't like Dirt, I apologize, but this is what I enjoy playing. I have days in Dirt because I really love this game. It's one of my favorite racers in years, and in some aspects even more so than Forza Horizon 5. I love Forza. I've always been a Forza nut, but I love Dirt. I don't love all the Dirts. Dirt 5's hit with me. And it just, the kids say, it just hits different. So, I don't know if you like the footage, you don't, but listen, I'll change it up a bit, and maybe I'll put something on that you like. But Retri, sell your brand, brother. Talk about where people could subscribe to your outstanding YouTube channel and where you give us on a daily basis, information on Xbox Game Pass. Talk about it.
I'm dropping the links right now. Boom. No shame in my game. There they are.
No shame at all.
So Game Pass Daily, you can find me on Twitter, obviously, and YouTube and TikTok. And Gamers Council, which is the show I do every Sunday with Dave at 7 p.m. You guys will find us live there. And we get the community involved. We got SpeakPipe now, so you guys can leave us voice messages, which I will leave right now in the chat. But yeah, anything Game Pass related, guys, you can follow me, and of course on Gamers Council, where we talk about anything going on with gaming and pulp culture, comics, whatever the heck you guys want to talk about. So that's what I got. Boom, and thank you for having me, of course.
Nah, brother, it's great to have you a part of the show, and obviously we want to see your channel explode on the scene. Like I said, the montage you did, I think you might have made mention of it. You should do that every month, because that is
a
phenomenal way on how to break down what's coming, because I think that ultimately it's literally too much to keep up with. It's just way too much.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Infinite Umbra, sell your brand, brother, and talk about the show that you and Daniel McGee are going to be launching hopefully next week, called The Fix. Where can people head over to right now and subscribe before you even have an episode live? Talk about it.
Yes, sir. As they say in the church. Yes, sir. you know, here's the link here for anybody who would grace me with a follow here and subscribe to the channel.
Indeed, drop that in there.
Yes, come by and support, and please come and support and hear us out. Listen, you've already seen here that we're not just the company, man. Now I will shield for Unreal Engine. Sorry, it's going to happen. So I don't care what you say is happening. But when it comes to our takes, they're genuine. You see, Danny's his own man. He'll tell you, hey, I got
no problem being wrong.
And listen, same here, and the same thing is like I appreciate differences of opinion. That is perfectly fine. So come by and give us a listen. I am aiming for next week. Me and Danny were talking behind the scenes. He kind of motivated me. He was like, hey, we got to get a move on this. I'm like, you know what? You're right. And I learned OBS pretty quickly because of it. Thanks for that motivation, brother. So I'm aiming for next week, Thursday. I think we'll go for a 7 o'clock launch, if not 6 o'clock. We'll talk about it behind the scenes. I think 7 probably would be the best for prime time, brother. I don't want to, encroach on any other podcasters though. So that's been an issue a little bit.
It's tough.
Boom, by the way, Nintendo, the otaku had a super chat. He said that you think you missed. I told him to repost it just in case. So he did right there in the chat.
I think we should just find a podcast to feud with, and we should just start a war with them.
Yeah, openly beef with them, like with the
the POS.
That's fun.
Yeah, POS of the week. That was quite
we fighting with this week.
But you all can find me on Twitter, of course, Infinite Umber or Umber Infinite. You'll find me either way. And of course, here on Tuesdays at 12 Eastern, and on Fridays on the Xbox Infinite podcast at 8 o'clock Eastern. And of course, with the Fix, I'm trying to go live next week, me and Danny. And that we're talking about a wide variety of things, not just gaming, pop culture, TV shows, movies, anime, comics, everything. So if you're a fan of all those things, and I'm pretty sure some of you are, I think you'll get your fix with us. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that pun.
Yeah, no, I love it. No, that's a great promo, brother. I mean, listen, we want to see everyone succeed. That I have an opportunity as a content creator to give people a space to speak. And if you like what they're saying when they put their own stuff out there, you should get over there and you should subscribe, because if you enjoy what they're saying here, you're going to enjoy what they're saying over there. Nintendo the Otaku, he actually did drop another $5 super chat. Thank you for that. He says it'll sell because it's Zelda. The highest selling Zelda before Breath of the Wild, which is hitting 30 million, is 8 million. Breath of the Wild had only sold because it was a great game. I mean, Zelda, like Metroid does not sell well. It sells terrible.
Surprisingly,
but she is iconic in Samus. So
I mean, people were buying that cardboard Labo set, so I don't know.
I mean, not a lot of people bought that. That's why Nintendo dropped it like a hot button. But Daniel McGee, sell your brand, brother. Talk about your YouTube channel where they can check some of the best short and long content, especially when you're trying to rewrite the DCEU, and of course, what you're going to be doing with Umbra on a weekly basis.
Right. So you can find me on Twitter at Daniel McGee, at Daniel J McGee, and at my YouTube channel, just Daniel McGee. That's Daniel MCG, because that's the way we spell it in Scotland. If you want to throw tomatoes, throw them at my subscribe button. Please go to every single one of my videos and tell me how wrong I am with them. It's great engagement.
And comment on it.
And comment on it. Share it with your friends. Say, look at this idiot. Wow, how dumb. Feel free. Feel free. Right. It was getting heated. I had to put my hair in sport mode. But So those are the two big ones. We're over on my channel. I'm talking about news reviews. I'm rewriting the DCU. That should be one of my next videos. I'm working on a Shazam 2 review right now, but I keep getting
I can't wait to watch that one.
Work and all the mess. So I do think you'll be able to find something you like over at my channel. And if you can't, then go and subscribe to the Fix so that you and Umbra can team up on me. I don't know.
Yes, come and root with me against him, everybody.
Yeah, I love it. Listen, that's going to be a fun show. And listen, this has been a great show. Like I said, this is a conversational podcast. There's no right, there's no wrongs. Everyone has their opinions, and it matters. We don't all agree, and that's what makes this show fantastic. That's why this panel is put together. Obviously, the panel has changed over the years because of real life, but this is your your Xbox Factor podcast panel, and I'm proud to work with these guys. And like I said, I love the fact that everyone is doing their own thing. I love that everyone comes here and has different opinions, and we do get some funny ones from Daniel McGee because they are quite hilarious. Again, for me, as I've been doing this for 5 years, folks, and I have never ever had anyone come on and say that we're going to skip this planet because they play with poo and eat rocks. So there's that. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it. Hopefully you enjoyed enough to hit the like button. We had over, I think we got close to 600 people here, which is pretty dope. Nice. And if you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, I saw a lot of new names here. Please consider subscribing. We are on the hunt to 13K. We have now officially crossed, we are 12.1 on YouTube, which is great. We got 100 new subs rather quickly since we hit 12K 2 weeks ago, I think it was. Listen, we love the engagement, and we love, the goal for us is 15K. And I just dropped the link for the merch that Mrs. Boomstick and I put out there. Finally, after many years of wanting to do it, we had to find the right group of artists to bring it to fruition. And I have the updated Breakfast with Boom logos, and I say logos with an S because there's an 8-bit version of it as well that looks incredibly dope, as well as an X-Vlog Live design being made right now as we speak. And I'll drop those in there, and you can check it out. We're gonna, by the end of the year, we're gonna have well over 20 different pieces of art put together for the store. And hopefully you enjoy enough to purchase one of the items as you've requested. And of course, folks, besides the outstanding super chats that allow for us to pay these artists to make these things and to build the channel's brand, I want to say something before we get on out of here, something that I think is incredibly important, something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he used to say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son, I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. We'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast.